welcome
So
to
is Arch.
DMD RPG, where we talk about gardening behind the scenes, right?
So is
Life is a
Archie.
garden. Dig it.
Sorry about missing last week. I had a existential crisis, but now we're back, so we can worry about other people's problems. Roleplay.
We didn't do
This is
that
Old
very
Gods of
special mention.
Appalachia, Candlebook and Bell. This is probably the last episode. So, if you haven't caught any of the other ones, like, what are you even doing here? You should probably start at the beginning. Otherwise, you're not going to feel bad for them when I do what I'm going to do. Speaking of old episodes, you
I'm
can
gonna call
catch them
bullshit
out
on
on
that.
YouTube. We have all kinds of games, including all of the previous episodes of Hell Week. Right, Chef?
They are entertaining. It's hell.
Yep.
Rock
Speaking of
my
doing bad things to players, Chef's got a finale on Friday too.
I'm hoping I can fit it all into one episode.
If not, that's cool. We got time.
If not, I'm doing the other thing.
Oh, the other thing. I don't know what the other thing is. You can probably find out what the other thing is on Discord. How's that for a segue?
If you ask
Discord,
nice,
where we talk about stuff and plot about stuff and complain about stuff. It's a nice little community. We'd love for you to join us. And speaking of join us, we have a Patreon. If you have some spare cash.
it's not a cult.
It's a
Yet.
family.
So,
The paperwork didn't go through. It's not a cult.
we just want that tax exemption, okay? That's all we want. What happened last week? Anyone want to go first?
Yeah, 3 players that were here for that last session. What happened last week?
Hey, I gave you a rundown of what happened.
Well, great. You should give the audience a rundown. A
Yeah,
reminder.
Ruth.
Go ahead.
Well, we certainly, none of us got shot or anything like that. But a couple days passed. Townspeople are giving us a side eye because apparently we were gone for what, 2 days, 3 days. Showed up with the kids and whatnot. But then we were tasked to go back to the Bell Farm to beg for more food. And oh my, did we do our best begging. We certainly did beg our best ways, yes.
All right. Chef is Kleber.
First off, we were actively told by a very nice lady that she is a woman of God and there will be no begging here. And she was also ragingly terrified of her complete jackhole of a husband.
Okay.
And yeah, somebody basically tried to make us go against every moral code that I think Kleber has. And it's not many of them, but they're there. By trying to get the Fitzpatricks to sell or much more likely give 100 acres to Jack Bell. And yes, I know his name is John, but I'm calling him Jack because he hates it. I'm that petty.
All right. Last Mitch as Reviv. What the hell happened?
Well, we were going to stay the night at the Bell's house, but things went a little sideways when Cleaver snuck out, and we saw someone dragging a body out of the barn, which they brought to the silo. It turned out being one of the Bell sons. Reviv and Ruth both failed in tackling him miserably, and they started shooting at us. Reviv put a curse on them before we left, and we decided to leave town even though the Fitzpatricks may be in grave danger, but we need to get Kleber to where he is not bleeding out, and maybe Glenn can help. And maybe, I don't know, Kate's suspicious. I don't think she'll help.
No?
She's known the guy for 10 years and she hasn't stopped any of this. I don't think
Which
she
guy?
cares. She knew the Bells. Last session, we were told she's known the Bells for like 10 years.
Knowing somebody and being on that kind of intimate term with somebody especially back then.
It's Kate. Come on.
Yeah,
Kate
it's
knows.
Kate. It's Kate, and this is the guy who hates her so much that he almost pulled a gun on her
Hmm.
the first time we saw him.
Plus,
Yep.
it's a 2-hour cart ride
Kate could take
between
him.
Kate's place and this place.
And I'm gonna feel every single bump in every single extra orifice I now have.
You're unconscious.
You will have time to go over what you might have talked about in the meantime, but when we fade in for this session, it's been 5 days. You got back to town, you unloaded everybody into Kate's place in various levels of bleeding and bruised and conscious. The town's doctor has been in and out for the last few times. Your wounds, the ones you obtained from the gunshots in the fights at the Bell Mansion, the farm, have not wanted to heal. They've been hot and angry and red. And it took several days and several rounds of not just medicine, but magic to start to allow them to mend. 5 days for you to heal. And you can all roll 3 recovery rolls to account for that healing.
I don't even remember what I was at.
I don't think you were too far down. Just let me know what you end up getting, because I can't see. Roll 20 is down.
10 total for me.
Okay, that should get you up to full.
3.
How many recovery rolls did you say? 2?
3.
Oh. Okay.
14 total for me.
Okay.
Also 14 total.
Okay. You both should be up to full too then. If I remember right from earlier.
Would I have been conscious enough to hear Kate muttering to herself about why the hell our wounds are acting weird?
The first couple of days you'd have been in and out of consciousness. You probably caught wind of the doctor muttering about, doesn't seem to be working. Kate, ruffling through her cabinet of things, trying salve after ointment after lotion after potion to try to fix you before stumbling upon something that did the trick.
They got hexed lead, don't they?
Nobody seems to know. Glenn, I'm guessing you're
Lead
up to full
poison.
health too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Lead poison is a bitch.
In the meantime, Kate left this morning, crack of dawn, to head back up to Adams County. To try to do what you guys couldn't do, to negotiate with the Fitzpatricks, to negotiate with the Bells, to try to get some food in. Some of the other groups have returned with mixed successes. For the most part, the weather's been weird. And a lot of towns don't want to part with their produce. So the town is still running on fumes, still running on the last bits of the first shipment from the Bell Farm.
When you say the weather's been weird, do you mean like unseasonably stormy, or do you mean like what are we talking about here?
The high sun of the Tennessee summer has not yet hit. Days are getting longer, lights up more as you dip into the June, July months, but it's not as warm as it should be, which means the tomatoes and the peppers are not producing fruit like they should. Before heading out this morning, Kate spent all night baking. Piles and piles of biscuits set aside. None of you were allowed to eat them at the time. And the only explanation she gave as she hurried out the door was keep them in hand in case a lot of people find themselves hungering. Not hungry. Hungering. The mood in the town for the past few days, for those who have ventured out once or twice, raise your hands if that might have been you.
I think I would have stayed at my wagon for the most part. May have went and got some herbs or something out of the woods, but other than that, nothing.
Kleber, you've probably been too ill on and off to really go very far. And Ruth Catherine's been at Kate's house almost exclusively.
Yeah,
So I'm guess you would have hung out there more often than not.
more often than not, at least go back to my house to let my husband know I'm where I am.
Reviv just has a fire in front of their wagon, is making a soup to share with whatever they can make, like whatever they can find, herbs, whatever is in the woods available.
For those who have ventured out, the mood in the town is weird. It never got back to normal after the night of the shucks, but it's more than that. It's gotten stranger. Everyone is more edgy, more suspicious, hoarding food, snapping at each other, starting fights in the streets over grains. When the sun starts to dip down below the horizon, people tend to duck into their homes like they're afraid of something stalking the streets. A dark force feels like it's looming nearby, and for those in tune with magic, Glenn, Reviv, the darkness tonight, as the sun dips down, feels like it's smothering you. Each breath feels thick and sticky, and something feels as though it's here.
Guess I'll build a taller fire than normal.
Are you at Kate's house or are you at your wagon?
I'm at my wagon.
Okay. Glenn, where are you?
I've been traveling between my house, Kate's house, and just kind of helping out around town to try to, with what little bit of food I have growing at my house, growing currently. What's been in my little storage?
As each day passes, Glenn, the willingness to accept your help has plummeted. By this fifth day, unless you were actively trying to feed someone, nobody wants to be anywhere near you. There's a sense of hostility and distrust that even you haven't felt in this town before. Like something is just on the edge of exploding.
I'm going to take a little basket of food. Just whatever little non-perishable stuff I have in my little house. Take it up to the church. I'm going to leave it on the doorstep of the church.
The church, as you approach, the doors are shut. They've very rarely been shut, but they are completely shut. The shutters have been closed. You hear from inside the sounds of prayer, fervent, fiery prayer. But you can't see who's inside. And if you try the door, it will not budge.
Oh no, I was just setting the basket of food there at the doorstep.
Okay.
That's kind of like a charitable donation to the town, and then walking back over to Kate's.
I'm going to need all of you to roll intellect. Let me know what you get.
$13.
17.
That's a D12.
9.
Oh, that was a D12. Sorry, D&D Beyond doesn't have their stuff listed. 13.
13.
So I'm trying to tell off of just the shape.
Okay. Who got the highest?
Think about didn't he with 17?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. Cool. Noted. All of you, Kleber, Reviv, Glenn, it feels as though the suspicions and the edginess and the hostility is a little contagious. None of you have fallen completely to it, but as days go past, you each feel a little more suspicious, especially as the sun dips down, a certain sense of doom has settled into the just base of your soul. And you're not sure who you can trust. You're hungry. You're tired. It feels like the world around you is crumbling. And even the people you thought were your friends, are they really your friends?
I'm gonna start making some circles of colored sand and stuff around my wagon, like protection circles. Like an abracadabra sigil, just like a big triangle, actually. That would make more sense.
I'm gonna keep all of my suspicions bottled up, and just keep an eye on people's behavior, specifically like our little group. And Glenn will start carrying around. I know I had to pull this out of my drawer. It is an actual leather-bound book with actual handmade parchment in it.
Okay.
He will just start carrying this book around. Jen, for you specifically as the GM, this is his spell book
Okay.
that has all of his magical everything in it.
I'm going to give you guys a few minutes if you want to do some chatting, catching up with each other, assessing the situation, whatever you want to do. If you want to make some rolls, let me know what you want to roll. It has been at least 12 hours and Kate has not returned yet.
Odd.
What's odd?
Uh, okay, Jen, check me real quick. Does Kate have a port or to speak of?
A what?
Port.
A porch?
Stoop.
Oh, porch. I thought you
You're
said port. I was like, it's not like a
yeah,
seafaring
you're
town.
yeah, you're
Yes.
it's cutting off.
Yes.
So
She has a porch.
that's
I
why I was like,
I
I was sitting here reading your list.
I'd be sitting on the porch just trying to figure out because this doesn't make sense. It feels like a storm's been brewing for days.
I
Like
that it
it's
does.
like it's settling in. I mean, I know I was putting it down to, this being the longest this is the longest I've gone without being surrounded by trees in years. But some part of this just plain ain't right. I don't know anything about hexes or magic or whatever, but I know that something ain't right here. You don't think,
Cleaver,
hmm,
how well do you think? How well would you say you know the woods?
around here I could probably find my way back. I could probably find my way back on a moonless night if I was, a couple miles out.
Glenn's standing there looking at the book, just fiddling with the latch. So you just constantly hear a tink
Yeah.
on it.
You don't think that anything else from downstairs, nodding towards the ground, from downstairs or in the caves could have come back after us, do you? tracked us here?
With what you lot told me, it shouldn't be possible, but
Yeah, and you
you
shouldn't
want to
have
take a
gotten.
walk in the woods with me?
Hell yeah. I'll go. I'll go.
Ruth, what are you doing?
I'm still at my wagon, just making protective sigils around it.
I'll get to you in a second.
Uh,
She said
I'm
Ruth.
I'm looking at the two idiots sitting on the porch talking about going into the woods and just being the sort of like the quiet mother, you know, disapproving look, shaking her head, knowing full well that if she says anything to stop them, they're still going to do it anyway.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, but she will say, how long should I wait until I come after the two of you?
I'll look up at the sky. Jen, can I see the sun?
Mm-mm. You can see where it went. The
And I,
darkness is slightly lighter.
and I see the moon.
You can see the moon. Just a tiniest sliver.
Is it waxing or waning?
Waning.
Of course it is.
Mhm.
If we're not back by by the time the moon is overhead, you'll know. But Miss Ruth, I don't mean this rudely. What do you think you're? How do you think you're going to be able to find us? I
From
mean,
inside.
I quite.
From inside of the house, just over the sound of crunching metal, you hear Catherine say, I can see her real good in the dark.
Oh, well, that answers my question then.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Miss Catherine, have you been feeling odd in any way? I know I've been feeling off these past few days. I figured it was just because I'm not used to being in one place for so long.
Odd how? What do you mean?
You'll
Agitated.
be here. Hmm?
Agitated. Jumpier, like you said.
More on edge,
I don't
a
know
little
what
bit shorter feet.
agitated means, but I think I've been fine.
Uneasy.
Hmm. I don't know. Even the green seems a little bit darker tonight than it should, even with no moon.
I don't know what you mean by that either. Y'all got any
Just a
more of
feeling.
these nails?
Uh,
Glenn, Glenn's gonna rummage through a little bag.
did you check in the shed?
Just for just for any like
Hide
spare
all
metals
those.
he might have.
Uh, did you check near the forge?
Have you been
No,
feeling
but I'm not
hungry
supposed to
lately?
leave.
Yes.
I'll I can go retrieve more nails for you.
Gotham, have
Um,
you been feeling more peckish recently than normal?
I was peckish.
Hungry.
Hungry. Can you quit using your crazy Irish and talk like a real person?
I don't think so.
I don't want to insult a lady by telling her that she's been eating a lot, but
No, no, no. Go on then.
she's a growing girl. She's allowed to eat.
I understand that. But
Trying
But
to say I'm getting fat.
I don't know what the hell he's saying.
you fucking. He just mutters something under his fucking breath as he starts walking off
Okay.
to the woods. Wait for
I,
Cleaver.
I do believe that boy duck can dig himself a hole faster than I could with a spade.
Mm-hmm.
Swapping over to Reviv. Raviv, you haven't really seen much happening over at Ruth's place in the past couple of days. You haven't seen Samuel or Thomas come in or out. Usually you see them come out to tend to the animals or to do a job or two. But they have not emerged in a couple of days. As you pace around your wagon, trying to ward it against whatever you think might be coming, and at this point, you think it could be anything. Could be the devil, as far as you know. But as
Roll
you look
20's
up from
back
your
up, by the
task,
way.
what's that?
Roll 20's back up, by the way.
Okay. As you look up from your task, I'll see if it lets me in. The only thing you see approaching is Miss Masters. Her hair, wild, dark circles under her eyes. No shoes on her feet, stomping clear across the ground, a pistol in her hand. And she's coming right for you.
Miss Masters, what are you okay? What's happening?
This is all your fault. She stops, maybe 20 feet away from you, raising the gun.
Well,
You brought those monsters in here. I've seen you. I've seen you night after night consorting with monsters.
I wouldn't say night after night, but you are right. It is my fault. I should have killed that thing. But
You brought them into our town. They serve you.
well, if they served me, they wouldn't have destroyed the town.
Roll speed.
Come on, Matrix.
I'll be an 8.
Guess what? She's got a harm
Neo.
in place. Cool. That is not enough. A shot rings out. Everybody in town can probably hear it. And your kneecap bursts into just a starburst of pain as you drop down. That'll be 6 harm.
Oof.
You feel your blood drip onto the dirt beneath you. The salt that you've laid down stinging.
You know, I never meant any harm to you.
You ruined everything.
I don't know what to do. I have no offensive abilities. I can just kind of sit
Jen,
there and talk.
Just so you know, Jen, once the gunshot goes off and Glenn hears it, he is running directly that way.
Okay.
And probably so is Ruth,
Okay.
Same.
especially if she can tell it's coming from the direction of her house.
All right. So you better figure out how to talk your way out of this for like 2 rounds before help comes in.
I only have one thing I can do to help me, other
What?
than talking.
Okay.
Perhaps my ward's work. I'm going to use nearby presence.
Okay.
Spend an XP. So something magical hopefully helps me.
She
I
pulls
really-
back, reloads the gun, steps a little bit closer, and she keeps stepping. Pistol at arm's length until it's pressed against the middle of your forehead. You've killed us
Do what
all.
you have to do. Do what you have to do, but I only did want to help.
And as she pulls the trigger, you hear the eruption of gunpowder. And then instead of pain, you hear her screaming. You hear the thud of the weapon as it drops onto the ground, and she stumbles back, a splatter of wet liquid across your face as she's holding a mangled hand.
Masters, Are you okay? Come here, let me help you.
Her eyes widen like a feral animal, and she launches herself at you, grabbing at you with fingers that aren't there anymore, reaching for your throat. Roll speed again, please.
Come on, better than 8. 11, that's better than 8.
That's good enough. Barely, but good enough. You tip sideways, just barely avoiding her grip as she trips past you. Evens or odds?
Always odds.
She trips past you, barely managing to keep from smashing her head into your wagon. She turns to face you, not seeming fazed whatsoever by the blood, only seeing red, as in her hatred for you.
Well, the one thing I have, I guess I'll pull out Cleaver's hatchet. I'm stuck on the ground with a blown out kneecap. I don't want to hurt you, Miss Masters. Just stay back. We'll get help. You're hurt. You're bleeding.
She screams, a sound you've never heard from a grown woman before, almost high enough to be inaudible. The corners of her mouth bleeding from the force from which she throws her mouth open.
Oh, shit.
And she lunges at you again. You can either dodge or you can attack.
I'm gonna dodge. Because that's some crazy shit. 14.
Yes, you do it. This time she kind of trips past you, her foot slipping in the mud made from the mix of your blood. Glenn, Cleaver, Ruth, that's what you guys see as you start to run down the street. It's a little ways in the distance still. You'll probably get there in 10 seconds or so. But Raviv, kneeling on his own protection ward sigil, with a feral Miss Masters seeming to try and claw at his face.
I send my bird to go try to like attack her face and distract her,
Okay.
since he's a lot faster than I am.
Okay. Just roll me a d20. I'm going to see how good he does.
Come on, birdie.
14. Your bird immediately leaves your side. It does a circle around the situation as though it's kind of reluctant to attack. The vibes are wrong, man. The vibes are wrong and you know it. But
I'm just
eventually,
trying to get him to break it up.
The bird obeys, swooping low, beak first, pecking her right in the face. It doesn't seem to want to contact her for long, but it's long enough to throw her backwards, hands flying up to her face to protect her eyes as she kind of rolls around on the ground, reduced to just frantic screaming by the time all of you approach.
Did we hear that otherworldly scream?
You felt it more than you heard it.
Would we recognize that from anywhere?
No.
Okay. Not what I thought then. Okay. Jen throwing the curveball. I run up and sort of like put myself between the two of them. Do I see where the gun is?
You do. It's on the ground
Is it on the ground?
It's on the ground near Reviv's body.
Okay.
Reviv's
It is
kind of
wrecked. It is completely like blown out.
faking, wrapping their knee.
What the hell happened?
I don't know. She came over here. She was angry. She shot me, and then she turned into one of those things.
We've seen a lot of things. I need a bit more specific, please.
The things I was telling you about, like the one that got into my cabin or my wagon. But she could
Oh,
use a gun. She's a demon.
I don't know about a demon. Aren't they supposed to, like, can't go close to churches or magic and whatever? Like pointing at the little sigils you wrote on the ground?
Though they can be really strong. Wayland's could get in the church. The church didn't stop them. Why would it stop this one?
Why would this one use a gun instead of just, I don't know, falling on you from out of the sky like a thunderbolt?
They have to be made. The thing might actually be Miss Masters, or what's left of her.
This whole time you're talking, she is
Finish.
moaning and groaning and just rolling back and forth on the ground.
I was about to ask if she's still alive.
She is.
Boyle, do you have any rope in your cart?
Yeah, I have plenty of rope.
Where?
Just go under my bed. It's where I keep most of my stuff. Find a 50-foot
Get
coil of hemp rope.
Okay.
cool. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna grab the rope and bring it back out. I'm tying her up.
She has devolved into just a cornered, thrashing, screaming animal, so she will fight you. But
Okay.
considering there's four of you, you managed to
Yeah.
tie her up.
Viv can't really stand. I don't think he'd be helping.
He's there for moral
Okay.
support.
Ruth is really the only help I need on that one, probably.
Yeah,
Reviv, I'm gonna
I will be helping Glenn.
Reviv. I will give you Pierce's care and let you roll a recovery dice.
Okay.
As
I'm
over.
going to be using the stang that I got from the cave episode. You guys remember the cave episode?
No. I wasn't there for the
Vaguely?
cave episode.
As a crutch. And I'll take that 5 points.
She's probably
Happily.
putting that all back into speed.
I thought you took damage in might.
It does. It starts with physical damage,
Yeah.
dodge, and night.
Okay,
Oh.
so yeah. I was almost done for. I was at like
My bad.
It's okay.
4.
It's okay.
I thought like damage, like his knee being blown out, that would be a speed thing.
Not until you run out of might.
Makes sense.
Pray mechanic.
I'm gonna tie her once she's tied up. Ruth, will you knock her out?
Sorry,
No,
say
you heard.
what'd you say?
I said, will you knock her the fuck out?
She's tied
rather not.
up. Do I really?
I'd rather not her not have to. I'd rather not run the risk of her breaking the fucking rope right now.
As her screaming continues, you do see from
Uh.
closer to town heads start to poke out of doorways.
All right, I will reluctantly knock her out, or at least gag her if I can.
Which would you like to do?
I'll gag her first.
Okay. She still is moaning and screaming, but it is much more muffled.
All right. Yeah. As soon as she's gagged and tied up, will you help me toss her into fucking Reviv's cart
No way.
to get her out of the
Right
fucking lodge for one.
No. Think about it. Right now, just what I've learned from that walk through town and everything everybody's been talking about the past 5-something days, the whole town is waiting for someone, something to explode on. This woman has just committed attempted murder.
Well, she did have a good reason. I mean, it is
No,
kind of my
no,
fault all this
it-
happening, and she did say that. I mean,
that only proves premeditation and forethought. That makes it first degree attempted murder.
How
That
much
makes it
penalty for
worse.
that, Mr. Law Boy?
I'm sorry? Couldn't understand you through that thick, crazed ass brogue. Talk right.
Well, she's probably just the first to do something about it. Everyone else probably thinks the same. I mean, I could
And
have killed that shuck, and I showed mercy when.
are you
To
trying
what?
to say you think we should let them kill you?
Maybe.
That may be one of the dumbest things I have ever heard a human being say on the face of this earth. And I one time had to sit and listen, mind you, to a man try to tell me that the world is round.
But what if they're right? What if I am the reason all this is here? What
And
if
how
I
do
am
you
the
know
reason they're starving?
Viv, you ain't done nothing that half the people in this town, if they were thinking right, wouldn't have tried to do too. Mercy is not a sin. You
Ruth,
tried your best.
Ruth, roll me perception.
Okay.
And for the record, I am sorry that I had to actually go the anti-science route there.
That hurt when you said that.
Yes, it did. Really?
Ruth, as you're kind of maneuvering Miss Masters, trying to get her shut up, you turn to face your property and something doesn't seem right, but you can't figure out what in the brief flash that your mind was occupied with it.
Well, that's unsettling. Is um, the gag on its masters secure?
It is.
Would I be able to eventually go investigate what I may or may not have seen to see if I can figure out what the heck is wrong?
Yep, like I said, she is still making noise, but it is muffled and probably won't carry on as far as town right now.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I will. While everyone is discussing the shape of the Earth and whose fault is whose, I will go over and at least go closer to what I thought I saw.
Okay. Ruth, as you
Yeah,
walk
Carrie.
away, what's that?
Sorry, I was background noise.
Oh. Ruth, as you walk away and head toward your house, it takes you about half the distance there to figure out what it is that's unsettled you. And the answer is that it's completely dark. No candles, no lanterns, no light of any kind. And it may be nighttime, but it is not that late. It should still be dinner. It should be cleaning up. It should be getting ready for bed, but it shouldn't be black inside that house.
And I can see other houses. The other houses around have lights on in them.
They do.
I will call back to Reviv because they've been basically the one person who's been close enough to the house. Have you seen my husband and my son?
No, they've been staying inside. I thought they might be sick. I've been feeding the animals for them and cleaning the stalls because they've been inside.
Uh, uh, I will trust but verify. I'm going into the house.
Jen, on a scale of 1 to 5, how well acquainted would you say I am with Ruth's family and their general habits?
You live out a little bit closer this way. I would say probably three, 3.5.
I would know that Reviv's not normally the one that feeds their animals,
Yes, you would
right?
know they are very responsible, like up at the crack of dawn to throw some feed down for the chickens kind of people.
Okay. As soon as he says that he hasn't seen them and that he's been the one feeding, I'm heading over to Ruth's house with her.
Okay.
We should probably go too, huh? But, well, this fire has been going for a while. I
You
don't think he'll
go.
go out.
You go. I'll keep an eye on her.
I'll limp over there with my crutch.
Okay.
I'm gonna start dragging her. I'm gonna start dragging her towards the church.
Okay. Dragging her toward the church. Got it. Viv, where did you say you were going?
I'm following Glenn and Ruth, but I'm behind him because I'm limping with my crutch.
Okay.
Hearing him limping with the crutch. Well, Glenn's not going to say anything. It's just a look of disappointment on his face, having known you just got your fucking knee blown out.
Raviv and Glenn, that sense of unease and suspicion that has clung to you for the last couple of days gets darker and heavier as you approach this house. Glenn, you wonder for a minute if it might not be a trap. Something set by someone.
Right before we go in, or Ruth even opens the door, I put a hand on the door. Wait a moment. And Jen, I'd like to use Mystic Sense.
Okay.
Because it is an action, to see if there's, to basically just study the location and make sure that, and see like what it is going to be causing this, like coming in. Because I know Ruth doesn't keep magical shit normally.
True. You drop your guard as your mind kind of reaches out for tendrils of anything, like you're a magical metal detector just trying to get something, anything, and immediately your senses are assaulted by just tendrils of darkness seeping out from under that door. You can see them like sentient smoke as they seep out and toward you.
Can I
Here,
roll
take this. I
intellect
didn't give him
for
a...
like, I don't know, some sort of like magical defense type deal? Because you said my senses are being assaulted by this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can shut off Mystic Sense as easily as you turn it on.
Oh, I know. But I'm still trying to. That's why I'm like,
Okay. Sure. Do you have crafting magic?
I do.
Or using magic?
I do.
Okay.
I have all magic.
Okay. That's cool. You can roll it.
That's why I was asking if I could like roll intellect, because I know like mental defenses are intellect, if I remember right.
Yep.
Just let me check in real quick, see what this one does. That's manual dexterity, not something I need. Cool.
Ruth, you are struck with a sense of dread, but yours is much more mundane.
Mm-hmm.
Just the motherly, wifely sense that something is very, very wrong.
I'm gonna cover.
I'm going to Foxfire one of their... I guess Glenn's the only one that has a gift from Ruth. So I'm going to Foxfire the item that Glenn has. So they have some light in there, and then...
I'm going to. We haven't even gone in the house yet.
Yeah, but you need light when you go
I've
in there.
stopped at the door. And Jen, I'm gonna go ahead and spend 4 intellect to ease it.
Okay.
This is all before I've even rolled to see what the result is.
Okay.
Damn.
It's with my effort too.
Okay.
This is why I was like, I have a bad feeling about how this is gonna go. What can I do to make this easier?
Do you want to re-roll that?
Yeah, I'll spend an 80 to re-roll that.
just
But I thought I
wondering.
was like, yeah.
Watch.
Oh, I forgot to add the effort onto that. Bad.
Okay.
I guess
Okay.
effort only counts for the first one. And that's still with the 4
I mean,
spins, or does that
I
only
was
affect
gonna let you
first?
use the effort for the reroll too. Hold on, quick mental math. 1 second.
Do 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 do. Do, 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 do,
That's still not enough.
do, do,
All right.
do, do, do.
Okay.
You try to put up defenses against whatever this is, but it seems like it knows.
It's strong.
You see the tendrils kind of turn to look at you, like the vines turn to look at Reviv. And a puff of just darkness erupts from underneath the door, as though it's sighed and breathing at you.
I don't
In
trust it.
in my
Not doing
mundane
that.
sense of something being wrong, do I feel like you know how you're standing on one side door and you can almost feel someone else standing on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
like waiting? Do I get that sense?
You do. But you hear absolutely nothing. It's an older house. Normally it would creak if people were moving around. Even the draft that comes through sometimes makes noise, but you hear nothing.
Oh, Samuel's gonna hate me for doing this. I am going to kick the door open as hard as I
Do you
can.
tell me that you're going to kick it first?
I
I
don't
mean,
imagine so.
you literally hear her probably mumble, you know, Samuel's gonna hate me for this because she knows it's gonna ruin the door frame, with the latch and everything being blown out. So that's the only warning you probably get. But yeah,
Yeah,
she's going
I'm
to kick with the thought of if there is a person standing back there to ambush them or anything, maybe they'll get a face full of door.
I'm leaving Mystic Sense up, but I'm going to move out of her way.
Okay.
I mean, you're behind me,
Oh no,
hopefully.
I put my hand on the door.
I was out of the way at
It
least.
stopped you.
That's fine. The door flies open. You expected it to maybe bounce off against something, but it doesn't. It flies all the way open, slamming into the other side of the wall and bouncing half back. Beyond it, you immediately see darkness. You still hear nothing.
Mitch, what did you say you foxfired?
The gift that Ruth gave you.
Oh, the horseshoe?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Would is the darkness like normal darkness I would expect to see in the house, or is it like, oh, that's not normal darkness?
It's normal darkness.
Okay.
The slightest, tiniest sliver of light coming in from that fraction of a moon outside.
Um, I will call out. Samuel, Thomas, are you here?
You hear
When she's
two breaths in tandem, exhaling both at the same time.
when she calls out, I'm going to use hedge magic to float to bring a candle from her table to me
From the
because it's
table
Ruth.
to you.
She's, or you know, because she's well a candle in the room area because it allows for me to float small objects to me.
Mm-hmm. Are you using the foxfire to like look in like a lantern?
I don't have foxfire. I'm using hedge magic to bring me a candle.
Yeah, but didn't Reviv foxfire your thing?
Yeah, the thing in my bag.
Okay.
I'm not carrying the horseshoe around out in the open. That's a horseshoe.
Well, maybe I should have foxfired something else because it has to be something I can touch.
Retcon and say he foxfired something he could see.
Yeah, because
Well, you're
I
carrying
figured
your
you'd have
book.
that like at your side or something. Yeah, foxfire
You're
your book.
Yeah, you're carrying your book.
I am carrying my book. I'm still bringing the candle to me.
Okay. Well,
That
evens or
way,
odds then,
Ruth can
Ashley.
have some. Evens always. Damn. No candles out, Ruth? What the hell?
Not that you can see. You can't see very far in. The door has like
It doesn't say
flung
that I
all the
have to
way
see
open and
it.
then halfway closed. So is anybody gonna like open it the rest of the way?
Yeah,
Poke it
I
open
will
with my
open it.
crutch. Or I guess Ruth can open it, yeah. She's already up front anyways.
We can both open it. Yeah.
Backlit by the glow
Just hold.
of the fox-fired book. Ruth, the door creaks back open, just shards of wood clattering down onto the floor. And you think Samuel is going to be so mad.
Yeah.
But as the interior of your home is lit, you see both Samuel and Thomas sitting in chairs, dragged straight from the dining room table. Both sat out about 10 feet from the door, side by side, facing the door, as though they're waiting. And as the light casts across their face, the first thing you see are their eyes. Red around the rims, but for a second you think they're stark white. For a moment you think they are stark white, like Catherine's eyes, like the moon-eyed people. But as their heads tilt to the side in tandem, as though they're hearing something curious, dust falls from the sockets. And you realize
Dust?
it's sawdust.
Um, I look back at Glenn and Raviv. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are they tied up, or are they just sitting in their chairs?
They are sitting stark straight, hands in their laps, like they've been
What
waiting.
this do I see with Mystic Sense up?
Just an aura, a pulsing aura of darkness. Pouring from them, from around them, from inside of
Gotta
them.
be something about this darkness. It doesn't feel right. Glenn, you feel it too, don't you?
All of a sudden, Samuel and Thomas both stand up. Heads turning to look directly at Ruth, even though you know their eyes are gone. They can't see you.
Reviv,
Oh.
you ask that? Are you looking at Glenn when you ask that?
Yes.
This is the only time you have ever seen him actually shaking slightly. Not from pain, but from fear. Because of this. He doesn't say anything.
In
Ruth is
unison,
probably also shaking.
There's just the slightest shake.
Ruth, Samuel, and Thomas both take one step toward you. Blinking, although the
And I
eyelids
take one
can't
step
slide
back.
closed over the sawdust, it just dislodges some of it onto their cheeks, saying in the same dry tone, "Do you love us now?"
Glenn, what is this? Raviv, what is this?
Not them. We need to go back to the light. This isn't them. It's a
Yes.
trick.
Do you
Ruth
love
is
us
absolutely
now?
backpedaling. Absolutely, I love you, but I don't think you are you.
Each of their hands slides into a pocket, fingers wrapping around something inside.
Backing up,
They
I'm
slide
looking
pulling
back at
Glenn back
the
from the door if need
bonfire
be.
by my wagon. Is it still going?
It's still going.
Just
Then I'm
slowly
gonna make a
back up to the
speed roll.
bonfire and try to tug Glenn with me with my one hand I have available.
Glenn, what did you say?
I'm gonna make a speed roll real quick, just to just to see if I might be able to do something.
Okay. Ruth?
Depending.
Uh, I'll be dragging or pulling Glenn back as well, so that Reviv doesn't. If Reviv needs to move, they can.
Okay. Hand out of their
What I
pocket.
would have what would I have needed to roll in order to be able to get my whip ready to swing before they could pull stuff out of their pockets?
Slightly better than that.
Yeah. That's what I was like. What would I have needed? Because I figured, difficulty 2 is not gonna
Not
be
great.
long enough for that.
And as though puppeted by the same master, both Samuel and Thomas pull their hand out of their pockets and move it directly to their mouths, dumping something inside and the sickening crunch of rocks or metal against teeth as they bite down on something their bodies were not meant to process. They chew and chew before smiling at you with a jack-o'-lantern grin. Do you love us now?
I
Blood
do.
dripping out of the sides of their mouths.
Ignore them, Ruth. It's not
Ignoring,
them. Something.
ignoring
They've been taken somewhere. They
Reviv,
have to have been. This isn't them.
ignoring Reviv and ignoring Ruth, them trying to tug me backwards, and ignoring Samuel and what was your son's name again, Jess?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Huh?
Thomas.
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 Ignoring Samuel and Thomas. I'm gonna be staring directly at the black pulsating blob. What do you want?
Whatever it is, it doesn't answer you. It's not something that wants. It's just something that is. And something that consumes.
Maybe Kate can fix this.
Glenn doesn't say anything when you say that. He just gives you a little because he's got a gut feeling that Kate's probably dead. Um, something. There's something. I gotta be able to do something. God fucking damn it, Jen. I gotta do something.
What do you want to do?
I'd like to try to identify the magical. Because you said that it reacted like it knew me, like the vines reacted to Reviv.
Okay.
I was going to do the same thing, actually, just to see if this was the same as what I saw a sliver of coming off of Kate.
Okay.
I got a 13.
So I guess I have understanding magic, not identifying. So I have to roll other skill.
Okay.
11.
It doesn't feel the same. There's a difference between malice and nothing. It was a sliver of nothing you felt from Kate. This is different. Glenn, this isn't something that you are immediately able to identify with a name Mm. Oh, it's a shame you didn't hear last week either. It's nothing you can identify with a name. It is just hunger and malice. It is definitely some kind of spell, some kind of hex. But you can't link it to a specific being or a person. It's definitely not Kate's.
Hunger is always something that can be linked to something.
Meanwhile,
But
Kleber,
as
Ism.
you are still dragging Miss Masters to the church.
Uh, hopefully leaving more than dragging, but yes, one
I'm,
way or the other, she is coming with me.
she is fully bound, so
She can hop.
she will not be hopping.
Well, in that case, she's leaving like a little footprint groove as she is being transported.
She is moaning and thrashing the whole entire way, leaving just a trail of blood from her mangled hand. As you approach the church, just like I told Glenn, it is locked up tight. You hear fervent, fevery prayer from inside, but the doors are shut, the shutters are closed, and there is not a soul outside. Not around the church,
is
anyway.
there a basket sitting on the stoop?
There's still a basket of food sitting outside.
I I sort of like not roughly, but deliberately like push her to the ground so that way it would be hard for her to get up or escape everything. And I go over and I start banging on doors, calling for the preacher, help, she's possessed. I found one, you know, help me save this woman. All kinds of, here, let me help her. And I'm making a huge din, hoping anybody in earshot will hear me.
The first couple of knocks, the prayers just get louder, like they're trying to tune you out.
Is she still screaming?
As much as she can around the gag.
I go down, pull her up next to the door, and pull her gag off, and sort of like point her body towards the doors.
All of a sudden, it's kind of like a competition for noise. Miss Masters shrieking like a banshee, prayer cranked up to a full yell. And after a moment of this exchange, you hear the pastor start to yell at a volume that means he is probably right on the other side of the door. Be gone, Satan! We
I
banish
need.
thee!
Yes, now come help me
We
do it.
banish thee! Get away, Satan!
Do I
There
know the
is no
Reverend's name?
place for you here.
Do I know the Reverend's name?
Reverend Anderson, I believe.
Reverend Anderson. I need help. This woman, I think, is possessed. She nearly tried to murder someone not 5 minutes ago. Either you come help me save this soul, or God knows what this town is going to do to her.
The voice of the devil sounds like a reasonable man.
You've never called me a reasonable man. You've
Be
called me an
gone.
outlaw hick. Reverend, understand. I came to you first. I tried. 'Tis you who turned your back on this woman.
Do you want to roll persuasion?
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, I was trying to roll guilt trip, but okay.
Same thing.
Uh, Another skill.
That did not
Because I
roll anything.
Mm. Mm.
That's weird. That's weird. Did roll 20 break again?
I don't know how I did that.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Can you just roll a
Just a
d20?
D20.
Hold on. Not much better.
I would have taken the 0, honestly.
Yep.
I'm thinking.
When,
Because I'm tempted to just give it to you
Okay.
anyway. That's probably not
Okay.
comforting.
It's not from a player. Okay, from a character, it's freaky as hell. From a player, I'm giddy at the possibilities.
Okay. Okay. Evens or odds?
Evens.
Why should I leave it up to chance?
Then
Why
don't.
should you?
Then don't.
Yeah.
You're the GM. This is your
Do it.
universe. Do with it as you will.
Do it.
I know.
As you tell me all the time, just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
The door flies open. And Pastor Anderson, you've seen him 1,000 times before. He has never looked less comforting than he does right now. Sandy blonde hair, ruffled, falling out in patches, dark circles under his eyes, cuts all around his mouth, his stomach bulging in an unhealthy way. His hands covered in tiny, tiny cuts, leaving just the faintest smears of blood wherever he touches. And past him, there are maybe 12, 15 people in the pews, all various states of disheveled. Penny Magnus, one of the clerks at the local general store, has claw marks up and down her arms, her own blood caked underneath her fingernails, dark circles under her eyes, too. Addie and Maddie, just past them, are covered in dirt, their hands bleeding like their fingernails have been ripped up. The tailor, Mr. Mitty, he's covered in blood down the front of his smock, a hollowed out look of exhaustion as he reaches into a pocket for a pair of pliers. And a handful of other people, all exhausted, all bloody, turning to stare at you, the silence replacing prayer, far more intimidating than the noise ever was.
Reverend. See, you made a few changes.
I said, be gone, devil.
Okay, just after giving him a quick once over, I'm assuming that the similarities between Miss Masterson, Miss Masters, and the Reverend are similar enough to ring a bell,
What do you mean?
especially with a lot of the screaming around the eyes, or excuse me, screaming around like cuts and tears around the mouth, around the eyes. Plus, I'm fairly sure he's starting to look more and more and more like his downstairs self.
Roll me perception.
I have one of those.
Somewhere.
Nice.
Damn, that's the best roll we've had all night so far.
It's good too. It's good too. Um Although Miss Masters seems mindlessly feral, the wild look in her eyes is just a wild look in her eyes. It's not like her eyes are turning white or anything like that. She is still fully human, just insane. And as you look
Okay.
at the pastor, glancing to his other hand, the hand that did not unlatch the door to open to it, you see a Bible, like you would expect. But half of the pages are missing. Slight bloody smears of fingerprints across the page. That is next to go. He stares at you, dead, exhausted eyes, licks a finger, and peels the next page off of his Bible, lifting it up to his mouth to chew.
What have you done?
I've saved some souls. You are not welcome here.
You are not a man of God.
He slams the door in your face. The prayer immediately starting back up, every one of those people begging for salvation in sync.
Jen, I would like you to know that as a player, you have me genuinely fucking confused as to what the hell we're supposed to be doing right now. Like, in a good way. In a good way, you have me confused.
As a player, I think I know what we're supposed to do, but my character doesn't know.
Reviv
As
sure
a
as hell doesn't know.
as a player, I have a really, really, really awful idea. The character has the same awful idea, but would never, ever, 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 except for maybe right now, do it.
A horrible, terrible, awful idea as the Grinch's smile curls.
All right, so
So,
speaking of
give me the Molotov.
what you're gonna do, Glenn, Reviv, Ruth, you guys are getting out of that house?
I'm being
Mhm.
drug out by these two, yes. I have no choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you
I've been
going anywhere
outnumbered.
specific?
The light of the bonfire by my wagon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll drag Glenn back, but Ruth is now concerned over whether or not Catherine's okay, because hey, look, she split her family. Oh my God.
Okay.
And
Literally.
when we
Kelly
get
has to kill
back,
her.
I'm gonna go into my wagon and start like pulling the bullet out of my knee and actually treating the wound instead of just wrapping it to stop the bleeding.
Sure. All right.
I thought you already pulled the bullet out.
It's fine. It's flavor. Whatever. Kleber, do you just turn away and leave her on the steps?
Oh no.
No.
No, 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 no,
What are
no,
you
no, no,
doing?
no, 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 no. I'm dragging her deeper into town,
Okay.
trying to get the townspeople to come out and help and see and understand something is going on here. And then I may well go and do the terrible, awful, wonderfully terrible thing. Um, but yeah.
Okay.
So
As you start to drag her, kicking and screaming, through the
literally,
main town, roll me perception. In between your own footfalls, after a while, in between the breaths of her screaming and the sound of your own footsteps, you hear the creak of a door, and then the faintest of other footsteps.
I turn to look.
There's a man. Let me grab his name, sorry. Brutus Pritchard, the owner of the general store. Dragging his feet, heading for the center of town. In the moonlight, he seems like he's a little glossy or wet from head to toe.
What color
What do you mean, what
do
color?
do I do I see what color the liquid that he seems to be glossy or wet with is?
If it has a color to it, you can't really tell.
Okay. Is he leaving footprints by chance?
Slight ones in the dirt, but not like puddles.
Okay. Mr. Pritchard,
He keeps walking. Lantern swinging by his side.
I at this point I'm starting to think that this plan that I have is not going to work the way I want it to. So we're going to plan B. I'm going to let go of Miss Masters and leave her there to scream and shout and kick and do whatever the hell else she wants as I turn and go after Mr. Pritchett. I walk up sort of like if he's walking, I'm trying to come up like beside him. So I'll be eventually in front of him, but not close enough to like reach out and hit.
Okay.
And I'm walking like, Mr. Pritchard, Mr. Pritchard. And I try to get in front of him. So I can at least get a look at his face and everything with the lantern he's holding.
Okay. Roll me speed. About the same time as you kind of drop Miss Masters to the ground, everyone back at Reviv's camp can probably still hear her screaming. The screams kind of turn to a gurgle as just the sheer force of her shrieking burst blood vessels in her throat.
14.
Okay. The second your footsteps kind of hurry past him to try to circle around in front of him, he stops. He looks furious and afraid. When he's no longer walking, you see his body visibly trembling. His mouth opening and closing like there's something he wants to say, but he can't get it out.
What is it, Pritchard? Like one hand sort of like slowly going down to my side, reaching towards my hatchet, but not touching it yet.
How
But
close are you?
getting to him, probably about 5 feet.
Okay. He takes a big, deep breath. Doesn't seem to be talking directly to you. When suddenly he bellows as loud as he can. Catherine Batts is in league with the devil. She chases me in my dreams and tears at my soul. My sins must be absolved.
Ow.
He raises
Take
his
a
hand up
slow step back.
and smashes the lantern at his feet.
Yeah, saw that one coming. And that's what he's covered in, isn't it?
Immediately, his whole body catches on fire from toes to the tip of his head, and he lets out an ungodly shriek, louder than Miss Masters ever was, the gurgling sound of breath turning to steam in his lungs. Doors fly open, heads peek out as he thrashes and screams.
Um, would I be able to put a hatchet in his head without lighting myself on fire?
Oh, you want to give it a try? You can roll.
I kind of do.
Okay.
Damn it, I hate myself, but I Kleber would not just stand there and do nothing, even if there's not a good choice. That doesn't have a roll next to it. All right.
Carpal tunnel is not playing nice while I'm writing this out.
Can I spend an
You want to spend an XP to roll again?
please?
Yeah.
Okay, bro, you poor baby.
I'm
You're burned.
don't hate.
You're burned.
It'd be really funny if you
No, I
botch.
didn't. I'm using my. Don't you put that on me?
You did it yourself.
And
Don't
you
you
know,
put that
Let's
on me,
go.
Ricky Bobby?
you know what would be real funny? Oh, look at the mate. I think you know what would be real funny is if it was a 2.
Okay. You pull your hand back, swinging your axe. It hits his skull with just a hollow thunk. But it gets stuck in there. And he's still screaming. Roll speed.
$11.
You barely manage to dodge just a glob of molten oil as it comes splashing at your face. The flames lick at the
Okay.
handle of your axe.
Am I able to pull it out or not?
Sure.
Okay.
everybody
I
everybody down at Camp Reviv can see at least a sudden source of light in the town center as
get
doors
into the
flies
church.
open and
Okay.
people start to file out
File out.
of their homes.
File is the word that I'm surprised by. Really, really concerned by is probably a better description.
Jen,
I
just so
yell
you
at
know, I'm
Pritchard.
going to send this to you.
Okay.
I yell at Pritchard. Get to the church. Get to the church and find absolution. Hoping he can still hear me.
He can hear nothing beyond his own now hoarse whistles of a scream. He's dropped down to his knees, by now body convulsing involuntarily.
Okay, I tried. All right. So before I decide to run away screaming, the everyone else who is filing out, are they like getting into ranks? Are they like forming a mob? Are they walking towards me? Are they staring on the porches? What are we doing?
Most of them are standing at the porches as though they are momentarily too afraid to approach. A man you barely recognize is holding a fire bucket, but not coming any closer than he is.
Oh, shit.
Uh, Help him, man! If he doesn't move anything, I walk over, grab the bucket, quickly check what's in it. What's in the fire bucket?
Nothing yet.
Are you rolling for it, or are? Oh, it's just an empty bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought when you said that. Okay. I sort of grab him and point to the well. Go! Run!
He steps away from you, scurrying backward as though he's afraid of you. He points after a moment, also exhausted, the hollows of his cheeks looking like he hasn't eaten in days. You did this. You set him on fire.
He did it to himself.
I saw it. Are you calling me a liar?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Roll speed.
$11.
You feel the breeze of the bucket as he whips it around, trying to smash it into your skull. And kind of stumbles from the momentum, clearly exhausted.
Okay. Fine. Didn't want to. Really didn't. I look at. Is there anybody else on his porch?
There's his wife and maybe a 7, 8 year old daughter.
I turn as I as like goes dodge like whistling by. Like you saw him throw first, and then I'm going to turn my hatchet around. So the flat back is going on, and I'm going to smack this guy in the head if I can.
Okay. Are you still typing, Ashley?
16.
No. I'm done. I'm done.
You feel the
You are.
the I'm sorry, I'm just reading this. I thought I'd get distracted. Eh. Um,
You don't know what that is?
it's fine. It's fine. You'll have plenty to do. You swing the handle of the axe around and you feel the reverberation through the wood as you come just cracking down on his skull. He drops, immediately silent, as the noise from Pritchard dies away just about as quickly as the fire seems to. But all of a sudden, that heaviness in the air, Cleaver, it feels as though there's more than a dozen eyes on you. Everyone who is nosy and suspicious, peeking around from their porches, out of their windows, from their doors. You feel the weight of their stare on you, and you know, oh, you're in trouble.
I'm reminded of what my daddy told me. You never back away. So I stand up, look to the woman, tend to your man, and start walking right through town, ready to, like, not backing down, showing weakness, or anything else like that.
Where are you going?
Just right now, um, I don't know. I'm going away from here without flinching, cowering, turning my back, or in any other way indicating that I am not perfectly capable of doing that to any and all who might follow me.
Okay, here are your options. Are you heading toward
Oh
Kate's
God.
house or are you heading toward Reviv's camp?
Um, the player says I probably should get back with the rest of the group. Which one is closer to the direction I'm going?
Depends on which direction you're going.
Okay.
Take your pick.
We let fate decide. Evens, I'm going to Reviv.
If you hadn't gotten, if you're basically between the church and the town center, then Kate's place would be closer.
Well, he let the dice decide. He's going to Kate.
Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The dice said I'm going to Kate's. Jen gave me another really good reason to be going to Kate's.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because Lord only knows what the hell Kate keeps in back in her pantry. What kind of shotgun bear trap contraption? Who the hell knows? Plus, I'm fairly certain Miss Catherine's got a few words. Is gonna have a few answers for me. I hope, or I die.
We'll see. Back at Camp Reviv, what are y'all doing?
Why are you looking so excited about that option? Oh, Jen.
After hearing the scream of someone being burnt alive, a scream that Reviv has heard before, they're just going to be in their wagon, shaking, sweating, quiet.
Uh,
Ruth,
Ruth
what
is
was it that she said about about all the baking and shite?
That's actually what I was gonna ask Jen, because I'm assuming Ruth has known Kate well enough and long enough that, like with the blanket, solutions to problems are just provided, but not outright stated that they're solutions to problems. So, with the fact that Kate made all this baking and told us not to touch it unless people are hungering, would there be a slight indication maybe that those biscuits could help us?
Roll me intellect.
Okay.
Can I just start just shoving food into people's mouths?
What
We
food
didn't.
and who people?
Yeah, we didn't
Uh,
bring the food.
Look on the porch of the church. They got something for you.
Yeah, I just
But
wanted to make sure you could think of that around your probable distress, Ruth. But you can
Yeah.
make the connection, yes.
Okay. Uh, what did Glenn say? Sorry. Talking
uh,
about the baking.
um, uh, yeah, I said, Ruth, what the fuck did she say about the baking again? All that baking and stuff?
I If the townspeople were hungering, and you know how Kate is, you know how she
When you say hungry,
emphasizes.
you see Glenn immediately open his book and start flipping through pages. And Jen, evens or odds that Glenn has and I want you to pick, Jen. Evens or odds? What are the odds Glenn has something on hungering in his little book?
Okay. I'm saying evens or odds?
Mm-hmm.
Odds.
Okay. So yeah, Ruth, you just see Glenn hungering. No, another page, another page. Ruth, would you like to look into his book at all?
Yeah, she's wondering what the heck you're doing when basically Ruth is thinking, why are we not going to Kate's to grab the food that she baked? That's probably magic and can cure these things and hopefully grow back the eyeballs of her family.
You look into his book, it's just a bunch of random fucking scribbles and like sigils that he's flipping past
Oh, bullshit. Okay.
until he gets to one page like halfway through and it just says famine equals hungering.
Reviv, Ruth and Glenn, roll me perception.
Exactly. Perception.
I'm going to
No,
do it with
man.
disadvantage since I am panicking.
I mean, if you wouldn't be paying attention to anything else.
Oh, damn it.
Oh,
Oh, that's
I mean, I'm
a lot of
flipping through my
bricks in
book.
chat.
That'll be a 3.
I'm flipping through my book, so
That's a lot
I
of bricks
probably
in
have
the chat.
disadvantage too.
well, I guess be grateful this one can't hurt you. All of you hear like some noise in the distance, but you're not really sure what it is, as everyone who was staring at Kleber starts running for Kleber. Just the sounds of porches creaking, doors swinging open, footfalls racing. Kleber, you can hear it.
Looking at
I would expect
we are
Cleveland
go
to
for
be able to hear it.
cheesing it.
Okay.
As soon as he finds that page in his book that says about the hungering, he just goes, "Oh shit, that's what it is." And he doesn't say anything. He just stuffs the book in his bag and starts running towards Kate's house.
I am not leaving Reviv behind, so bang on the door to their cart and say, "We're going to Kate's house. Come on."
The door's open. Riv's just sitting
Okay.
there, like, shaking, silent.
Ruth will help them up and help them along. She's not going to leave them behind. She's not going to leave them to fend for themselves.
What's happening, Ruth?
Remember Kate's baking? We're they're probably magic. I don't know. Glenn has run off, and we're all going to Kate's house, and hopefully, her baking will somehow fix all this thing. I don't know. I'm sure you understand this more than I do.
There's so much happening right now. I'm so scared. What?
I know. You're not the only one. Believe me, you're not the only one, and I hope to God whatever is in the house, they're not my husband and they're not my son, and I hope this will all be fixed.
Before we leave, I'm gonna grab a few papers out of the dresser next to Reviv's bed. Just
Okay.
stuff them in the silk, and then with the crutch behind Ruth as fast as Reviv can go.
No, I am literally, if need be, yeah, I'm helping you. I'm not letting you behind. We're going together, and I don't think I'm strong enough to pick you up, but
So you go Princess
yeah.
carry him.
Come on, Mama Bear.
Glenn, are you just
Yeah, come
are
on,
you
Mama Bear.
running?
Yeah, literally just. I'm not. If I have to duck through alleyways to get there, yes,
Okay, can you roll me speed
absolutely.
just to
What
see if you can
difficulty would
catch
you
up
like
with the
to do?
mob?
What difficulty?
18.
18 is not a difficulty level, Miss Ma'am.
That is what you need to roll.
I need to know. Oh, okay. Fuck.
So
So that's like
6.
Okay.
Oh,
That sus eye worked. Damn. You stared that thing down.
I was like, the
ooh,
math, yeah.
and a minor effect.
Do you want to catch up with Kleber or do you want to stay behind the mob? I will give you that choice
I'm
as
going to Kate's house. I'm going to Kate's house.
they are all going to Kate's house. Do you want to get there
I will
before
go
the
with
mob
Kleber.
or do you want to stay behind the mob?
I will catch up to Kleber.
Okay. You kick up dirt as you race past all of these people who are running, but they are exhausted. You weave in between bodies, everyone in like various degrees of distress and injury and illness, wild, tired looks on their faces. You scooch in and out of bodies before you finally see Kleber's back as he is sprinting for Kate's house. You start putting distance between you and the mob, and you are able to catch up with Kleber, probably about 6 seconds ahead of everyone else.
Okay. I can work with 6 seconds.
Fuck.
We get there, grab a basket, so start throwing fucking bread out there in the street.
Do you ever talk normally?
No! Fucking just throw the bread in the goddamn street that she was baking. Throw it at the
What?
people, personally.
As the two of you, crest the small hill that her house is on, leaping up onto the porch, whipping the door open for shelter. You hear the sound of horse hooves clip-cloppeting their way down the main road from the north. Two horses, clearly, and as you turn your head, if you turn your head, do you turn your head?
Yes. Horses mean
Yeah.
to get in right. So, yes.
You spot one of Kate's wagons. The horses seem nervous and twitchy, but they are, as they're supposed to, making their way, stopping just in front of Kate's house, like they always do. But there is no Kate that you can see. Roll me intellect,
Okay.
all three of you that failed before.
Is it all 3 of us that failed before?
Reviv also failed before.
I just was trying to remember what the role was, if it was me or not. Thank you.
Yeah. I was like, wait, who all failed again? I know I failed.
13.
Okay. Reviv, Kleber, and Glenn, as you turn to look at the approaching wagon, it is full of food. Some of the most delicious produce you've ever seen. There's tomatoes and peppers and potatoes, corn and grains, piled high, capped off with just the most perfect summer watermelon you've ever seen in your life. And you need it. You feel your feet taking a detour away from the direction you were originally going, heading right for that wagon. And so does everyone else. Those mob that had been chasing you, they slow to a stop, head turning to follow the sight of this wagon. Eyes wide with desire. Ruth,
Mm-hmm.
do you also look?
At God, I don't know. At the,
At the
I
wagon,
mean, horse hooves. Yes, yeah, I would. Yeah.
where everyone sees the most glorious pile of food. Enough food to get them through weeks. Probably you see a pile of rotted, squishy slop infested with maggots and worms, and instead of a cherry watermelon topping everything off, you see the gore-caked head of Kate, disconnected from where her body used to be, staring blankly out at the mob of people as they approach.
Well, at least Ruth had a hold of Reviv.
Uh, I will scream upon seeing the severed head. I was gonna say upon seeing the rotted fruit, not rotted food, scream, it's not real. But then upon seeing the severed head, I would also scream as well and keep pushing for her house.
You can easily make your way past the mob of people, Ruth, toward Kate's house, if you would like
Hmm.
to, because everyone who had been chasing Kleber is suddenly distracted.
Yeah.
Easily 20, maybe 30 people swarm this wagon, and you watch them just grab fistfuls of slop and sludge, shoving it into their mouths, smearing decay and rot all over themselves.
It's Fort Wonder all over again.
Uh, yeah, and once I get to Kate's house and inside, I'll just start grabbing the bread, the biscuits, um, or whatever, and haul them back out. See if I can distract the mob or get them to eat this instead of that rotted crap.
How do you intend to do that? Just wondering.
If need be, I will start chucking them at people's heads.
Okay.
Why don't you just make that plan A? Make that plan A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or force
yeah,
feeding.
Just start
yeah,
just start beaning people in the head with loaves of bread.
yeah.
Throwing fucking little bit throwing cornbread biscuits like fucking ninja stars. Just
Okay. Well, I guess roll me might. It better be good.
Okay. Let
let's
let
make this
let let.
difficulty 10.
Ruth,
Hold on.
Ruth,
She'd need a nat 20 to
I'm
win.
sorry, Glenn and Kleber, Reviv, you're a few steps behind because you're moving a little slow. Before you know it, you feel your fingers just wrapping around food, suddenly at the back of the wagon, and you are drawn to this like you've never been this hungry before. It feels like it is tearing up the inside of your
Oh,
stomach.
if Glenn and Kleber are in the mob, I will run up to them and shove the bread or the biscuits or whatever into their mouths
Okay,
before any of that crap can get to them.
pick one.
Glenn.
Glenn, okay. Glenn, roll me. Are you. Mm, roll me intellect again. I'm looking for 10 for realsies now. Or 9.
How about a 5?
Not
Best we
enough.
can do is a 5.
Glenn turns his head away from the biscuit in favor of this much more appealing produce.
Hey,
Oh, you're gonna
Jen.
play that. You're gonna play with that, huh?
Hang on, Jess. Hang on.
No.
Jen, Jen, would see the unseen. Would I be able to somehow force my way through this illusion?
I'll allow it.
You'll allow it? I just realized you're wearing a Fitbit. Are you
Sorry, I was
okay?
dying for a moment. It took longer than I thought it would for that to happen.
I asked, are you okay? Because you like immediately got red all over.
Yeah, I was lacking oxygen for a moment, but we're good. Okay, Glenn, as you kind of dodge the biscuit shoved toward your face, reaching for the most glorious peach you've ever seen in your life, you realize your fingers sink in. And it's that sensation of just sludge around your fingertips that lets your magic cut through the magic that is polluting your brain. You still see the food. But you also know that it's not real.
That's not food. At the realization, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to grab Kleber by the back of his. But basically, I'm trying to scruff Kleber. And I'm going to try to throw him backwards with myself away from this food cart.
The four of you watch Lenny's father, Xavian, clamber to the tippy top of this pile of food, grabbing the watermelon from the very, very top, which, Ruth, you know, is not a watermelon. He heaves it up high over his head and smashes it down to the edge of the wagon. As several of the townspeople crawl over each other to try to grab some of the meat that splatters to the ground. Kleber, you are yanked backwards with whiplash-like strength from Glenn. Raviv, you are still making your way toward that wagon.
Hobbling with my crutch, as long as at least I'm slow. You know, it turns out Miss Masters shooting me in the knee. It's a good thing.
It's a very good.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
For once. That was the care. Surprise. As soon as I get Kleber pulled backwards, I try to like hold him down. It's not real, Kleber. It's not real. Just fucking screaming in his face, slap him if needed. Try to break the illusion on him.
Okay,
What
roll
are
me
you
roll me
on
might.
about?
I owe you guys so many
you
harms
might.
right now. Roll me might.
Okay.
Take 2 harm from a solid slap to the face. It busts your lip open, Kleber.
Ouch.
Are you good? Are you back? It's not fucking real food up there.
Feed him the bread.
Before I'm
Shove
fed
it in my
anything,
mouth.
before I'm fed anything, he's going to try to punch Glenn in the face for that.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Roll might.
I'm literally on top of you, holding you down after throwing you backwards. It's
Well,
just,
if you slapped him, you're only holding with one hand. So,
yeah, that's just.
you know what? Owed a whole lot of harms. Take 2 harm as he hauls back and punches you in return.
I can do that.
The reason you're not comatose is because I don't have leverage.
As more and more townsfolk start to pour out of their houses, stumbling to this wagon of wonder, it's as though the violence you two have enacted is contagious, though. And one of the people who is up front, clambering into the back of the wagon, is suddenly kicked off, thudding down onto a person below, and before you know it, they're fighting.
The hell kind of. Okay, question. I have punched him. Have I had something forced in my? Have I had the biscuit forced in my mouth yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So in that case, I don't know. So like,
Nope. All you want to
fuck
do is get up
wrong
and get them.
with you, man. They're gonna eat all the good shit. Fuck, get off me!
It's not real, you fucking idiot.
You were just holding some, you dumbass.
Yeah, and it doesn't fucking feel right.
Ruth, what are you doing?
Having dealt with children who are fussy and refusing to eat their food, I know how to handle Cleaver, and so I will basically do the nose pinch and force his mouth open and shove the biscuit in his mouth.
Okay.
I was about to say the airplane hasn't been invented, so are you gonna choo-choo it at me or what?
Roll.
Nope.
Here comes the stagecoach.
I guess roll speed.
Okay.
Would she have advantage on this since I am holding Cleaver?
Actually, you know what, Ruth? Don't worry. I've got a care lined
Okay.
up for you. So we're just gonna say it works. You
Okay.
pin his forehead down with one arm. You like kind of curl your hand over to pinch his nostrils shut until he has to gasp for a breath, and you
Mhm.
shove it in there. It's not a good biscuit. It tastes a little grassy. It's really dense and dry. You
Chew.
chew and you swallow because you have no other choice. That's the only way you can get air. And all of a sudden, as it makes its way into your body, you feel the curtain of doom that had settled upon you for the past nearly a week part. And suddenly you smell the rot and decay in the air, just feet from you. You turn your head to look, and that is not food.
Oh. What the hell kind of witchcraft?
We'll figure out that later.
And
Actually, no,
The actual bread into people's mouths.
there, cracked on the edge of the wagon, is not a watermelon, but Kate's head.
Raviv holding one of the eyes. It's been so long since I've had a grape.
Raviv, I will tackle you. I will
Job.
absolutely tackle you.
The sad
Biscuit
part
meat.
is that eyeball would
Oh.
pop like a grape.
Yeah, it would actually.
So it's fine. Someone stop Raviv from cannibalism?
Yeah. Yes, I will
Yeah.
stop him. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nobody did anything to stop Raviv from seeing the illusion.
No.
No, you were hobbling. You admitted you were slow, so
Look,
Yep, I was slow,
you
but I
had-
still got hit by it.
Roll speed.
Plus,
Roll speed.
you'd have to.
See if you get there in time.
Wouldn't he have to fight his
Mitch
way
has wanted to
through the
eat
other
someone
mob?
since Snare Island. Okay?
Who'd have thought
I'm
it'd be
doing it.
Raviv doing it?
Not good.
Oh!
So you know the King of Gondor when he just eats that? That's Raviv.
All right, Jeff, roll your speed.
Ow.
Can I roll mine to try to save Raviv from this?
You can.
God, please.
I might decide it doesn't matter though.
Nope,
Oh my
not really.
It don't
No,
matter.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Ruth,
Raviv.
everybody
spoken.
lunges for Raviv the second they realize what he's doing. The glistening eyeball just making his fingers all red and slimy.
Granted to
He seems so happy as he opens his mouth to pop it in. Ruth, you lunge for him, and instead your foot slips on what is probably a clump of Kate's brain, and you sprawl out, belly to ground, wind knocked out of you, Raviv, as your teeth bite into that eyeball. A grape. The inside of your mouth suddenly coated in goo. It's perfect. It's delicious. You want more.
Why are you fulfilling this wish, Jen?
No.
It's mine was
just-
just something from Snare Island.
Picking up anything, they think they're eating grapes. It's just whatever's round in the pile.
To be fair, Glenn still sees them as food. He just knows it's not.
What you doing, Ruth?
Makes me wonder. Well, First of all, it makes me wonder why the heck Glenn hasn't eaten the biscuits yet, you know? No, I will
Because
get back up.
I was fighting Kleber.
Ah, true, yeah. I will get up and, again, I will, try to shove, the bread into Reviv's mouth
Okay.
because he doesn't need another grape.
Roll speed.
No more grapes.
You can't ever eat just one.
With my injuries, I feel like they should have advantage.
Well, it's not really your legs they're trying to beat.
Yeah.
No, we're just trying to stop you.
Reviv, you reach in for a handful of something. Strawberries. A fistful of strawberries. Straight from the ground. You don't think of anything of it. Your fingers dig in. It kind of oozes between your fingertips, and you think, man, those are so ripe. Your hand starts moving for your face, and all of a sudden, there is something dry and grassy directly in your mouth. You jerk your head back to try to get away from it because, like, that's not the delicious fruit you thought it was. You chew, you swallow, and all of a sudden, the delicious, bright, grapey flavor in your mouth turns to iron and plasma.
Pause.
Give me
It's
a
not
might roll
water.
real
What?
quick.
Looking at his hand, really confused.
Your hands are covered in
What
blood.
would it be for him to throw up?
That's why I had him roll might. All of a sudden, as you realize your hand is in what is probably brains, the taste of blood, an animal in your mouth, you lean forward, heaving.
Something like that, I imagine.
You hear the sound of flies and you smell the rotting produce behind you. And as you turn your head just a little, you see what's left of Kate's face.
Just jaw dropped. Silent, paralyzed, not knowing what to do, falling back on the ground.
So, is the plan here to try to get biscuits into everyone's face?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my plan.
There are about 30 people here.
You want 30 speed rolls?
We're going to do this in groups of 3. Do this in groups of 3. If you fail, you will take damage. Just so you know. And I will only need
There's 4
one of
of
you
us.
to roll per group. Group 1 is Kleber. That is not enough. The difficulty is 12. So, tier 4.
I take 4?
No, I said tier 4.
Oh, tier 4.
You will take 2 points of damage
Ow.
as you attempt to wrestle people as they basically push you away, just trying to get to what's left on the wagon. Glenn, heck yeah. I will give you 2 groups for that. So 6 people you managed to wrestle, kind of winding your way in between them, just stuffing biscuits in between mouthfuls of garbage. Ruth, your airplane technique not really working on these people
Mhm.
who still have their faculties and hands and arms about them. You find yourself clocked in the face and
Ah.
stumble away from the group, trying to shake off the stars that you see take 2 harm. Terrific.
With the injuries and the shock and the vomiting, I feel like I should have this applied to me, hands tied. Sometimes you can't act to bring about good luck or dispel bad anytime you're unable to take an action, such as if
Okay.
your hands are tied, you're stunned, and so on.
That
Your next
works.
action is hindered.
In which case, you need to get a 15.
Look at that.
Let me roll a
Nat
Hey!
20.
Like that. Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Raviv,
Takes a deep breath.
you just kind of sit there still, biscuits in your lap, and every time someone tries to lean down to eat what's left of your friend's head, you just shove a biscuit in their face instead, the moment they lean down to grab it. You're not chasing after anyone. They're coming straight to you. Next round. Unless someone wants to take a different approach. Kleber, you try to just muscle your way in this time, but find yourself smack in the middle of a out and out brawl between three separate people fighting over the last. Not really sure what it should be. It's yellow and floppy now and seems to ooze. Take 2 harm.
Yellow and floppy. There's so many things it could be.
Yeah, that's why it's an awful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, an exact 15.
Nice.
I know. That's what I was saying with my 12.
Glenn, you managed to slip a couple more biscuits in. You are running out. You've got to go back to the stash. Raviv, honestly, your method of just waiting for them to make a grab seems to be working out. Ruth, you kind of catch on to Raviv's ambush predator style, hanging up by the wagon, waiting for people to reach for food, and instead slipping a biscuit in there before they can notice they haven't picked up produce. One by one, people start to realize you actually took care of quite a lot of those all at once. As the power of the magic starts to clear from their eyes, obviously everyone reacts a little bit different. Some retch, some scream, some cry. Some stay stock still in shock. A handful of them.
Those that have had the... Sorry, go ahead.
A handful of them who have managed to escape your various methods of administering biscuit have crawled into the wagon, practically bathing in the disgusting goo. What were you going to say, Glenn?
Oh, I was going to say, as people start to... The ones that have been, like, had the magic dispelled on them. Jesus, why did I get so laggy for a second there?
I didn't notice.
Oh, okay. I did. Anyway, as they start to get their faculties about them again after they're screaming or retching or shock has started to fade, I'm going to start handing them plates of biscuits, saying, help us pass these out to the others in any manner you need to.
Evens or odds? Oh, I rolled before.
Jesus. Can I get a reroll? Damn,
No.
I didn't even get to answer, Jake.
Yeah.
Evens.
Okay.
Quick on the gun there. Damn, girl.
Yeah, itchy trigger finger. I'm sorry.
Worked out for you that time.
Hmm.
It did.
So many hurts. So many hurts. So little time.
I know. I don't care if like not everyone. It's just like I'm trying to get like a couple more hands to help us.
Okay. I will say eventually everyone, except maybe like 3 people who are really resistant or too weak or too sick to ingest a biscuit on their own,
We're tied up a
have
block away.
partaken. A few of the townsfolk are grateful, of course. A few of them are suspicious. Because all of a sudden, they are eating garbage in front of Kate's house. Kate the witch, who they knew for years and years was up to no good.
Do they not see her head on the ground?
They see a
Yeah,
head.
any of them that start, and any of them that, and how much of her head is still left? I'm assuming not much.
Not a lot to recognize. What do you say to these people?
Raviv has nothing to say. Let's
They're
go back to the
resurrected
wagon.
in the church.
Is that it?
Come on, we have to help the rest of the town. There's still some in the church that need help. And I started like trying to lead the willing ones away from here and towards a goal that they would understand as being true.
Roll
Those that
persuasion
are
or speaking.
suspicious,
Mhm.
that are still real wary of even listening to Kleber about this. Look, just because there's just because magic is real and you didn't fucking believe in it before. This, and I'm gonna point at the cart, is not Kate's doing. Hell, if anything, and I'm gonna point at the head. The head. If anything, she gave her fucking life trying to get you more food. Her fucking biscuits are the reason that you can see that you're not that you were eating fucking flesh and guts and rot. If anything, we've been trying to help you this entire fucking time. Whether some of you might have been more hostile, and I'll point at Reviv's knee being blown out by a gunshot. Um, well, some of you might have been more hostile about, denying our help. We at least tried to help. Instead of beating you, rot. Hell, some of us were even taken over by the fucking effects of this magic for it. The longer you can resist it, the better off you're gonna be. At least then you won't be fucking cannibals.
Roll a d20.
I'll do you one better, Jen.
Yeah?
I have an inability in charm, persuasion, and deception,
That's fine.
and I will happily roll it.
Okay.
$18, baby.
Damn.
Mm.
Does anyone have anything to say to back Glenn up?
Uh, yeah, I will add.
And that's with
Kate
an
went to the
inability.
Bell. Kate went to the Bell Farm in Adams. When we found the children, the cave that we were in came out of the Bell Farm. You want to blame anyone for this, then blame that family.
I saw them
As you can
carry a
see,
body to their silo.
They shot me multiple times. It took. Even the doc said those bullets weren't right. They weren't healing correctly.
I don't think Kate could sever her own head and put it on top of the cart.
The bells mean us harm. We need to do something about it.
I have an idea. I'm going to need some stealthy people, a lot of oil, and a book of matches.
Well, destroying their farm won't help. That'll only make Adams starve.
What do you think? How do you think they had an entire. They were harvesting. None of their food should have been this rotten. This is on purpose. They had to go and find this stuff. You don't serve this to pigs.
Well, magic can do a lot of things, Kleber.
Oh, so now we're admitting that they're magical. And attempted murderers. And thieves.
This
And
rot,
just a.
this gore, they probably already had it in that silo.
Are you trying to defend the man who you actually were trying to have, like, effectively lynched?
I'm not defending him. I'm saying what he did. That rot
Yeah,
was probably in his silo, and they probably sent the shucks here so that we'd have to depend on them so they could send that rot.
they could have just sent the rot without the shucks. You're
We would have
assuming that.
had no need for it. Who in this town has accepted help from us without trouble? Why would they just accept help from another town without trouble? They needed a reason to accept the help.
So why would they pick us as opposed to any of the other towns closer?
Well, maybe they want the land.
Because they knew
Oh,
Kate was a threat. Because they're the ones trying to use their magic to do God only knows what. Yeah, I'm feeling better and better about this couple of barrels of oil plan.
there are children in that town, Kleber.
Oh, I'm not going after the town.
If you burn down their farm, those people will starve.
Burning down a farm is not the same thing as burning the crops in the farm. I'm talking about a house and maybe a few silos. How many bullets did I carry for, you know, 2, 3 hours on the way home? How many bruises and bloody lips do you think that Lucy has had? It was Lucy, right?
Hmm.
Do you think Lucy's had?
Actually, it's Lucille.
Uh, that's Lucille
Sorry, I had to.
Ball, not Lucille Bell. This close, but also this far.
Glenn, you
I
can
just have to
tell
do it.
that your speech, against all odds, has diffused at least half of the suspicions here. People are slowly coming to realize that maybe the feelings they've been feeling haven't entirely been their own. They're left with a sense of otherness on the inside, like they've been living in someone else's home. All of you who have been under the influence for the past few days, you feel a hint of that as well, just a discomfort in your own skin, like you've been living a lie for a little bit of time. Those who aren't shell shocked or retching grab up fistfuls of biscuits to start taking them back to those still at home. Those who are hurt or sick or exhausted too much to have come at the sound of the dinner bell.
I'm going to bring one to Miss Masters, who's tied up in the street, and tend to her wounds after feeding her the biscuit.
After she shot you. After she fucking shot you.
Well, it wasn't her. She was under the influence as
It's
well.
still her body that pulled the fucking trigger.
Her screaming, gnashing jaw eventually chomps onto Biscuit, and a minute or two later, her voice completely hoarse, she just starts sobbing.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a little handful basket, like little kerchief full, to the door of the church, and I'm gonna start banging. And if they don't answer, I have an idea.
We're not committing arson on the church.
No, we're not committing arson on the church.
How
I
long are
start
you
banging
how long are you willing to give it before someone answers?
about 30 seconds.
You start banging in like before the sound of prayer just peaks into a cacophony of shouting.
Cool. I'm gonna take my hatchet and rip off some of the shutters, and then I'm going to use aforementioned hatchet to break the glass into there.
Here's Cleaver.
Damn right.
Okay.
It would have been even better if Cleaver was a butcher, so he was using a cleaver.
Actually, that was something I was debating when I was first writing this character.
Roll might, I guess.
Cleaver's cleaver.
And then speed.
Okay, he's taking a lot of damage. So the might, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Speed, I am though. This is what I get for trying to do. You know, you know what? Screw it. Can I at least reroll this speed?
Yes.
Okay.
Who do you want that heal to be for,
Fudge.
Ashley?
It was just random,
I know.
so I don't care. Any of them.
No, I'm gonna make you choose.
You want to make me
I'm
choose?
gonna make you choose.
You know what? Because of her emotional trauma tonight, I'm going to give it to Ruth.
You can roll the recovery dice, Ruth.
Yay.
Guess I had to use the voice.
That's slightly
It gives
better.
me an excuse to talk fast.
Slightly better. As you start like chipping away at the shutters, Dan, these are well-made shutters. Must have been Samuel Gaskill who made these shutters.
Mm-hmm.
They don't break even a storm.
How is he doing these days, anyway?
The door suddenly
Uh,
flies open, and holding a hunting knife of his own, the pastor's eyes glazed over, stares at you, and he is the first, but not the last, out of that door. Coming for you.
Food! And I throw it at them like right in their face in the hope of distracting them.
That's about enough of a distraction for about half of them. The ones in the front are unfazed. They are coming for you. The ones that have lagged behind, the slower, the weaker, the smaller, the younger, stop to pick up biscuits like they are Hansel and Gretel following a path, shoving them into their
Okay.
faces, barely even chewing. And you can see, if you're not currently running.
So there were about 12 in there, right? Which means I've got about 6 nice and cheesed off people, at least one of whom has a hunting knife and somebody else has a pair of pliers.
Yep.
It's the finale. I want to do something, but I've been rolling like crap all night, and I don't want this guy to die.
Maybe it's your
Um,
chance.
maybe. Um, okay. Ah, I'm going to try to use my hatchet to disarm the preacher, either figuratively or literally.
Okay. Roll.
I'm Yeah. Depending on how well this goes, it's going to depend upon whether or not I'm being literal or not.
What is everybody else doing?
Um,
After helping Miss Masters, I'm gonna go back
yeah, what
to
you're doing.
Ruth's with 2 biscuits for Samuel and Thomas.
I am going to join the people that have been going around to houses for those that were too weak or injured to move and feed biscuits.
Okay.
Look, Glenn's
Uh,
an asshole, but he still cares. It's been his whole shtick this whole time.
Ruth?
Look, just because he doesn't
uh,
like Cleaver doesn't mean anything.
Ruth will go into Kate's house,
Fucking your
retrieve a
defeater.
basket and a cloth, and she will essentially put what is the remains of Kate's head into the basket and cover it with a cloth, and then she will go retrieve biscuits and go to back to her house and hope to God that she can these magic biscuits will, restore the eyeballs of her husband and son.
When you go inside, you find Catherine kind of hiding underneath one of the kitchen cabinets, like folded in
Mhm.
half, just crunched up in there. Do you ask her to come with you, or do you tell her to stay?
Uh, I will spend time comforting her, and I will ask her if she wants to stay here, if she wants to come with me.
When you offer to let her come with you, she just kind of crawls back under the cabinet, shutting the door, clearly feeling safer there than outside in the world right now.
Yeah, understandable.
Smart
Uh,
girl.
mhm. Mhm. I tell her I will be back.
Okay.
You never
Cleaver,
did bring her those nails. Yes, ma'am.
is your plan to stay and fight, or are you trying to just get away right now?
I was basically I was going to let the dice tell me if I had some sort of karmic ability to not die while trying to knock these people out. Based upon how poorly I'm rolling, I'm going to use that swing to turn my body and run.
You can do that in a minute. What are you at here?
I don't like where this is headed. I don't like this in a minute thing.
Turning to swing gives them enough time to swarm you. You do eventually fight your way out of there, but not before taking another 5 in damage. I believe that knocks you out of your might. So you will
Yeah.
be hurting. You're not incapacitated, but you are
Impaired?
impaired.
Okay.
You do make it away. Are you running anywhere in particular?
Away.
Okay, gotcha.
Actually, no, I take that back. I'm running to the one place I actually think will be safe. I'm running into the woods,
Okay.
away from all these fucking civilized, whatever the hell kind of people who bring their damn religion and their damn plumbing and all that other crap to complicate matters.
Plumbing, what the fuck is that? We don't
You
have that
know,
in the
book
school.
learning.
Ruth and Raviv, you walk back into Ruth's house, the Gaskill home. Samuel and Thomas are still standing there as though they froze in place the second you left.
Do you want to give these to him, Ruth?
Uh, Ruth has her own biscuits in her hand, and she doesn't even answer Reviv, she just goes up to Samuel and does her best to offer the biscuits and feed him, and then does the same for Thomas.
Their mouths drop open at the same time, like mechanically. They don't yawn open as wide as a nutcracker, but you get the same sense that straight up and down, maybe with a hand slightly shaking, you place a biscuit in each open mouth and they close them, chewing on chipped and broken teeth. Crumbs tumbling from their mouths. It's like sawdust tumbles from their eyes. Slowly, color starts to return to their face. They're still broken faces. And they drop to their knees crying, shaking in shock.
Ruth will join them and pull them into hugs and just be there for them. They're still eyeless.
Still eyeless.
She holds them tighter, tighter than she held Catherine.
4 arms wrap back around you and in return, heads tucked up against you as tight as they can go. Over the course of the evening, before dawn, you guys manage to feed most of the town. Those you don't get to, those you find the next day, if there was nothing around them to eat, they have eaten themselves. Maybe 6 or 7 people died during the night. And when the sun comes up, the town is quiet. Still no food. Still no plan. But you saved a lot of lives, including your own.
Reviv's just packing up their stuff and getting their wagon ready. Going to Catherine, if you want to head out of here, I'm leaving. Anyone who doesn't belong where or doesn't think they belong where they're at can come with me. I'm
Cat?
going back to the other Kate before I go anywhere else. I need to know how she is. Hopefully she's okay still.
Catherine gives a little bit of a shrug. Having made her way during the night to Ruth's house, somehow it seems easier to be around Samuel and Thomas if they can't see how different she is now. Sitting on the back porch, she shakes her head at you, Reviv, slowly. I don't rightly know where I belong, but if I belong anywhere, I think it's here.
Well, at least you feel loved and you belong here. I respect that. I'll always be your sibling, you know that, right? If you ever see me again, I'm there for you.
You could just stay here.
No, I can't.
Well, you can always come back.
And Riv's gonna go and hug Catherine, say their goodbyes to everyone. Oh, Ruth, thank you for helping me and giving me a place to stay.
You're welcome.
But Glenn, you did your best to keep everyone safe, even me. Same with you, Kleber. Here's your hatchet back.
Keep it. I think you're gonna have need of it eventually.
Well, I hope not.
Well, you never know when you gotta cut a tree down.
Well, goodbye, everyone.
Till we meet again.
We're just gonna go to their wagon. I imagine they have a cheap mule, not a horse, not a donkey, something cheap like a mule.
Just
Pull it.
mangy.
Mitch, when Reviv gets to his wagon, sitting there on the seat of his wagon is Glenn's little spell book with a note tucked into the cover. In case you need it, is all it says.
I'll
Does
put it on my
anybody-
bookshelf with the rest of my books.
Does anybody else want to say final words? Have any final conversations?
I'm still about to go deal with that bell bastard.
I
Looking for an accomplice.
probably.
You know, I just might be.
I could do
I
some
mean-
wandering.
Can't you, though?
If you can, the two of you,
And Glenn,
please bring her body back.
If I'm able.
and just to make it clear, when Glenn says he could do with some wandering, he'll bring if he can, he'll bring the body back, but he's not staying in town. He's already planning on leaving and just wandering.
Okay.
Oh, I think Ruth's gonna leave too, as well, eventually. Yeah.
And Cleaver?
Oh
In
no,
fact-
I was saying that to Jen.
If I can't find it, if I can't find her body, I'll give her a pyre. That she's definitely earned. But, no. No, these mountains don't feel like home anymore. Heard there's some other ones, though.
Actually,
I
you
can
ever been
headshot.
out west?
Well, I heard about this Lewis and Clark expedition. And then I saw this nice lady who gave me this nice bracelet. Damn if I don't think I might want to try a slice of that.
And I think that is where we will fade out. Good job, guys.
Yay!
As the characters scatter to the four winds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
basically.
character's alive, and they're not imprisoned.
I know! It's
You
the
didn't
first
get
character you've had
set
that
on
hasn't
fire.
died.
Good job.
Didn't get
He
tortured.
almost did.
Didn't get interrogated. Didn't get possessed.
Before we do
Damn.
props, does anyone have any questions?
Yes, actually, Jen, what did you think of that little spell that I wrote?
That was
It was
good.
kind of literally a spur. It was literally a spur of the moment. Like,
Good.
no, this isn't
Hashtag what you
finale.
did.
I'm gonna go out with a bang if I need to.
Loved it. It was great.
I got two.
Okay.
One, how is the Undercake doing? Is she? Does
Underkid
Reviv
will-
actually find her?
If Reviv can find his way back successfully, he will find her. Yes.
And oh crap, what was the other question? I just brain farted. It was there and then it went away. Cleaver, ask your question while I try to remember.
Actually, I had a question regarding something Jess said about the bell plantation. Is this the same bell plantation that has the poltergeist with the rabbit-faced dog?
Yes. This story was based
Okay.
on the Legend of the Bell Witch.
All right, I remember what my question was. How well did Reviv's curse stick on the Bell Farm? Do they get a storm every night?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Not for a cipher.
But John Bell Sr. deserves what he gets in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. When Cleaver and Glenn stop by, Glenn's salting their fucking fields after they've been
No,
burned.
actually.
No, if you
Problem is,
look up,
Just
look at the Bell
if-
Witch.
Google the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
The Bell Farm gets
Yeah.
hella haunted.
yeah,
But it's nice to Lucy and Betsy.
And the
Well,
alien's
yeah.
name is Kate.
Good. Lucy deserves better.
They didn't do.
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't do anything wrong.
If she turns into a violent witch bitch, you go, girl.
Oh no.
Oh.
So I've realized it was the Bell Witch story that this was based off when Lou gave me the rundown of what happened at the farm.
Nice.
So I was like, how can I make this better for everyone?
I haven't heard that one yet.
Oh yeah.
So I'm
Fuck
just-
out of here is how.
You need to look it up, man. It is good.
It's pretty good.
Mhm.
Oh, it is a really good fucking story.
I'm still working on
You
season
can
1
actually
of
visit
Old
the
Gods.
place.
It's not
You
an
can
old
actually
gods itself.
visit
I
the
don't
cave.
think so. It's like an
No,
actual.
Oh,
You can actually
is
visit the
real.
Bell Cave
You can.
and the
Yeah.
Bell Plantation.
yep.
You
Yeah,
can.
Oh.
It's still a tourist
Just
spot.
just don't take anything from the cave, because people have said they get bad luck. But yeah,
Yeah, you don't wanna.
but
You really don't wanna.
See, now you're just tempting my skeptical ass. You
Well,
put on
you
my
be skeptical.
skepticals.
You can try it for
be
us. Let us know how it goes.
From the other side of the
Look.
country.
mhm.
Yeah. Stay the fuck over there. We'll stay the fuck over here.
All right. Last call for questions.
Actually, I have a question for you, and it is regarding going into props. What are your thoughts on everyone's characters and how well we all played our characters?
Well, of course, that's going to be part of props. I'll answer that in a
Right.
moment.
I'm trying to give you a transition.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
trying to
just
give you a
making sure there's
transition.
nobody else going once, going twice. All right,
Okay,
props.
is the town that we were from? Is it actually a real place?
Well, if it was, it didn't make it to the history books. And
Okay.
Yeah, wonder why.
in
Yeah.
this universe of mine, the town didn't make it past summer.
That was going to be my next question.
As Jess pointed out, early on, that was not a good summer for crops.
It was not a good year. It was snowing in June in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
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 So that town, they also left.
Most towns that day in that year became ghost town.
One by one, they left until it was more or less forgotten a decade later.
And the nature took back over.
That's just good for the Moon-Eyed people. They can finally come back up and live where they want to live.
They're stuck.
No, the Cherokee were quite specific.
Yeah. No.
Okay, what the fuck was that snake? Was that actually wasn't a Utahna?
No, it was a guardian. It was just a guardian snake to keep people from wandering down the wrong path.
That's like telling me it's like, hey, this huge thing. Oh, it's just a rat snake. You'll be fine.
Turns
Mhm.
out, sometimes it's not that complicated.
Sometimes it's
It's
not.
just a toaster.
It's
It's
never
just a massive water moccasin. No big. That's not scary enough.
What does it eat?
Yes.
Moon-eyed people.
These
Labradoodles.
children.
Whoever wanders down the wrong path. Like curious PCs.
Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about going the direction of basically making Glenn its puppet, like Utena Legend, like taking Glenn's heart. But I kind of already did that to Ashley in Snare Island, and I didn't want to again have her come back.
Hey, you know what?
Something else.
Look, second verse, same as the first.
I've only run half a dozen games. I don't want to repeat this early. All
For
right.
the same player.
Exactly. Hey, props. And it's end of season props. So, all the props.
So we get to go overboard.
Yes, we get to say nice things about everyone, and I get to say nice things about everyone. Do you want me to go first or last?
Jen, since you're our GM, you get to go first.
Now I need a tiebreaker.
Okay, laugh.
Lurch.
Evens or odds?
Odds.
Even through odds because we literally tied it.
Evens.
We didn't
Go first,
establish what being
motherfucker.
wrong meant.
Go first, motherfucker.
I'll go first, and then I can stop talking. Because I feel like I'm on borrowed time with my voice. Okay. Go around my screen. Ashley. I absolutely loved the balance you ended up striking between like total asshole and like team player. It felt like this whole plot kind of like dragged Glenn along, but like he never stopped contributing to solutions. Like he was always willing to just come out with like the most wild of solutions, literally plucking solutions from thin air if it came down to it, with the most like random of knowledge. He was kind of like the ace in the pocket. And I think a lot of problems probably wouldn't have been solved without him. Maybe some things would have gone a lot smoother if he had been around at the time.
Yeah, like, the Bell Farm.
Maybe.
You were at the Bell Farm.
But
No,
well, you kind of
not
made
the second
like
time.
a
Yes, it
total
was.
curmudgeon into like an integral part of the team, which is really hard to pull off. So round of applause for that.
I'm sorry. I took inspiration from Lexi.
Love it. Mitch. Poor sweet summer child. Just Raviv was the most innocent and untainted of everyone. And yet probably the person who had seen the most shit up to that point, and somehow just the childish, bright-eyed naivety just shone through all of the background of drama. I loved how, despite how chaotic it might ultimately be, Raviv was always willing to see the best in a situation, always willing to try to save someone or something. He probably shouldn't. But I think like you made it so that he saw a little bit of himself in everything. And so everything deserved a chance. And that level of just like bold-hearted purity is not something I think I've seen from you, and I loved it. It was really refreshing and really sweet, and just like the soft cuddly heart of this little team you had here. Kleber, I think, bless his heart, Kleber was like that big like mastiff dog who always means well but keeps kind of fucking up a little.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like his enthusiasm to just jump in and help, however it seems like it makes the most sense at the time, always in over his head, never quite sure what's going on. And you played like the sense of like bewildered earnestness like so well. Like your intention for the character came through every single time, and every decision you made, no matter how dumb you the player thought maybe this might be. Your ability to just say, fuck it, it's what he would do. Let's just swing it. We'll say, swing the hatchet. See what happens. Just full body dive into the character, whether or not it was actually objectively a good idea or not. I think you really embraced that with just your whole heart this time. And I loved it. And Jess, I kind of picked on you a lot, didn't I, huh?
It's okay.
Would it be mean to say it was worth it?
Oh, no, absolutely worth it. Yeah.
I felt it was worth it because Ruth, just the sturdy backbone of the group, just between the things she doesn't understand and the things she can't figure out and the things that are just beyond her sense of comprehension and experience, like chipping away at that logical shell that had clearly protected her for most of her life, to reveal something bewildering and heartwarming and then heartbreaking at the same time. Like your range, I said it before, we can't even see your face. And we can still get a sense of the emotion that Ruth is feeling, like the thoughts that you are trying to portray to us, the sense of conflict and heartbreak and love and loyalty. Like loyalty in the face of not just impossible odds, but impossible decisions, situations where she's never had to be in before. Just Ruth overcame a lot and made some choices, and you did just such a good job.
Oh, thank
I
you.
loved it.
Thank you.
Ashley, your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna go in reverse order of what you did. Jen, I played with you in the first Old Gods game, and you ran this one. I loved you in that one as a player, and this one, fucking hell. You took the bar, you threw it sky high, and still left over it with my expectations for going into this.
No.
I knew you knew what you were going to be doing running this because this system fits you so well with your way of storytelling. The fact that you can just pull random stories from history and throw them in a timeline anywhere like this with the cipher system, it works so fucking well for you. I think my Discord froze.
I can still see you.
No, you're good. Wait.
Oh,
Oh.
now it's just frozen.
Oh, shoot.
Dang.
Mitch is talking and no one can hear him.
Oh, I was muted.
Oh,
It would have been
she's
really
back.
funny if I wasn't muted.
there's Ashley.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
I don't know what the fuck happened. My internet hiccuped. That was weird.
I was
It's in the
done
middle of
with hearing
singing.
nice things about myself, so you can just move on.
Wow. Okay,
Let's
fine.
make
I'll
it
wait.
uncomfortable,
I'll wait.
doo-dah.
I'll wait till everyone else gets to sing their praises of you. Or do you want me to continue? Now that I'm
Continue.
back?
Still
Okay.
your turn.
But yeah, no, this system just works really fucking well for you, and I love it. I look forward to seeing what the fuck you do with Shadowrun. Because that's a mini series. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, Lou, Jess, fucking hell. I can't. Okay, like to build off of what Jen said, we can't see your face. I've been told I have a very emotionally flat voice. You, Miss Ma'am, have the complete other side of that fucking spectrum. You are so good at encapsulating your emotions into your voice. I don't know how you do it, but fucking hell. I think I like Ruth more than I did your fucking spider rodeo in Midnight World.
Thank you.
And the fact that you when you kick the door open and your husband and your son are just sitting there, eyeless. I felt so bad emotionally, and I can only imagine how bad Jen felt as a person confronting you with something that traumatizing. Jeff, I've said it once before, I'll say it again. I never get tired of playing with you because I never know what dynamic we're going to build. Your last character, we were allies. This one, we kept butting heads.
Frenemies.
Frenemies. I love the fact that you, until it was literally in your face, and even when it was in your face, you kept Kleber gung ho that magic's not real until he can fucking see it and feel it and prove it. I loved that. And I also love, like Jen said, the fact that he's like these big mastiff dogs that are just so fucking clumsy, but mean so well. You kept sticking your foot in your mouth and sticking your left foot in the wrong action, but it worked out so well as a character. And I love playing with you, man. Mitch. I just got done singing your praises Sunday. Oh, am I back? Did I freeze? I froze again.
Yeah.
You're good.
You're here.
Mitch, I got done singing your praises Sunday. You don't get it. I'm kidding. No, this is the first character I think where you actually ended it with a happy ending. For one, you're not fucking dead. For two, It's a complete 180 from Nancy in the Survivor game. Oh my god, I loved Reviv. I loved his innocence. I loved his lack of training with the magical stuff. I love that me and Jen playing Kate got to tutor you somewhat in magical stuff. Jen, I gotta come back to you because I just remembered something else I was gonna throw onto yours before I froze. I love the fact that you allowed me to actually bring stuff that I am knowledgeable about into a character. Because all of this, all of the magic, all the paranormal and stuff like this is my cup of tea. I hyperfixated. That notebook is full of shit on
Oh,
this kind of stuff. Like
nice.
the back half of that notebook is literally actually written as a spell book.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
But yes, I loved Reviv so much. I loved this game, and I love all of you.
Perfect. Mitch.
I mean, starting with Jen, where do I start? Everything you described is like, I could imagine it perfectly, like a photo. I I can't put it to words how well you did the describing of everything when we went through. I could perfectly picture the underground, the whole town, Adams, the cave we came out of, down to the leaves falling off the trees. It was pretty great.
Thanks.
I haven't had very many DMs that can just describe at that level of detail. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thanks.
Mitch, I think the phrase you're looking for is work in the theater of the mind.
Ruth, you did have the emotional heaviness. You brought it to your character really well, but everyone else already said that. You really built a mother for a character. Ruth felt like a mom. She didn't feel like, oh, she's just a gruff old lady or older lady. She felt like a mom, which I find is really hard to do. When I've ran my own games trying to play people's moms for their characters, it's really hard to just be a mom. So I gotta give you huge props for that.
Thanks.
Glenn and Kleber, it's kind of a 2-in-1 because you guys were the perfect foil to Reviv. Reviv, the innocent, sweet summer child. Kleber and Glenn are like, don't you know better? Glenn summoning the fire elementals and burning all the shucks. And at the end, when Kleber was like, you don't really believe that you deserve to die, right? It showed the heart that I didn't think Kleber had. It seems he developed it. And it was really well played.
Nice. Chef.
Oh man. Just to break tradition, I'm gonna do Jen last.
Oh my god.
Mm.
So I can say I did it. Ashley, I have yet to actually play a game with you where I did not think, like, I may not understand your character. I may be a complete loggerheads with your character, but I have yet to see like any character you have ever played that you have not just grabbed and run with it just to see, just can't, what else can I do? Like, what other role in the party can I play? And I have that can, it's almost like you're exploring for new roles and new ways of interacting in these settings. And I have yet to ever see a character of yours that I actually think I really understood, like, from the get-go. Like, I have never seen a simple shallow character with you, and this time it came across just in the complexities and like the little twists of how I think that should have gone. Well, no, it didn't. But I have I have always admired the hell out of that, and very well done, Mitch. Dude, I swear to God, you somehow took everybody's like 14-year-old I've been through one or two kind of rough things, kind of mentality, and dropped it into like the 29-year-old. I really should not have been like, I shouldn't be this way after going through the shit I've gone through. You could tell it was a choice with Reviv. And just that intentional, I don't want to say naivety because that doesn't really sound right, but that intentional innocence is something that, you know, even with Kleber, whenever he was doing it, he was like, how much of this is fake? He's got to be faking some of this. He cannot possibly be this kind, this innocent. Dude, you managed to throw me and my character for a loop for a good 2 or 3 sessions, just waiting to see like where the crack was. That was really, really well done because I never in my mind doubted that Viv actually like you knew exactly what he was feeling and why he would do it. I don't agree with it, but that commitment, man, was awesome. Let's see, Lou. I have very rarely seen you take on such an angry mama bear role, and you mama beared all across this in the okay, well, no one else is gonna do it, so fine, I'll be the responsible one. Always making sure that you were behind the kids, that you were like in front of, even just like the way you positioned yourself in conversations, just like that motherly, protective, fuck with my kids and I'm gonna give them your head to the soccer ball kind of
Mhm.
mentality. And then seeing that depth of passion, like all but shatter, and you're left with like literally the bleeding core of it. Whenever they're like, "Do you still love me now? Do you still love me now?" Like I, as a father, was watching that and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know how I would answer that question." And here you are, just completely staying with it and just plowing straight through it. It was amazing, and I swear to God, I thought Jen made you cry at least once tonight.
That's what it sounded like.
That's what she's so freaking good.
I don't know, something about Snickers and biscuits.
Mhm.
Snickers and biscuits.
Oh, Jen. Jen. Where do we start?
You can skip.
Blue with
You
not
can skip.
Blue with not ever calling you that again.
I'll take it.
Okay, Jen, to I have yet to see the game where I actually at any point actually thought I knew fully what was going on. I've had times when I thought like, okay, I understand the main plot here. I understand where we're going and I kind of think I know where it's going to end, but I have never ever been in a game that was like, okay, there's got to be a plot twist in here somewhere, and then there's not. We're like, okay, this is going to be a really straightforward one, and then it's got twists and barbs and everything else, and it's just you continue to keep me on my toes, both as a player and as the characters themselves, and it is really, really easy to get really, really lost in the worlds that you make because you make it in the same way that if I, the player, doesn't know what the hell's going on, how the hell can the character know? So how can I, you know, be doing anything with metadata? How can I like be whatever I think is going to happen? And it just makes no sense. Whatever my expectations are, you've always thrown them. And I have loved that about every game I have ever played with you in or seen you run. Please keep it up.
Thank you. All right, Lou, you're up.
Yes, you final.
All right. saving Jen for last, just because. Um, so I will say, just overall, yeah. Basically, all three of your characters, you are essentially Ruth's semi-adopted children, just because the way you all act and you have your own individual personalities. Um, Chef, repeating what everyone has said about you being the the mastiff that means good and keeps knocking over glassware and everything like that. Um, I it's especially yeah. I see a lot of parallels between Kleber and Megan's uh, character from the Sunday game because of the whole with Megan disassociating from seeing the merchant's room, and it's just like, Kleber, you're like, okay, I don't understand this magic shit. Clearly, there has to be something logical behind this, something mundane, something explainable. I mean, I totally see him in the when he's finally in his retirement age, writing a memoir of weird shit city people do and why they do it, or something like that. But God, yeah, the basically the role that you would have if Ruth was your mother and everything, you'd be the child of like, she'd just be like, yeah, he's just got to run the energy off. You can't talk him out of it. He's just going to do what he's going to do, and eventually he'll tire himself out. But I love the fact that you just had the attitude of, I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to do it. I don't care. And that's what I loved about it, about Kleber. Uh, Ashley, I love Glenn's no nonsense. Like, this is what's going to be done. We're not going through all these difficult steps. If there's a bad thing, we're going to shoot it. If there's a bad thing, we're going to burn it. Just whatever will be completely to rid it of the evil. I love the straightforwardness of it. You would be absolutely the eldest child who knows how to get shit done and does what needs to do, does what needs doing. You would be the wonderful eldest son of Ruth, and she would love you nonstop.
It's
But
funny you say that, Jess, because I actually
mhm,
almost picked "does what needs doing" as the
yeah,
descriptor.
yeah, you had a bit of that. You had a bit of that in you, Mitch. If we had a scale for the relationships that Ruth had with everyone else, Kleber and Glenn would be, a consistent upward scale throughout this entire um, campaign. Reviv has been an up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down moment. Um, Even in this final episode, I was like, oh my god, you're being such a pain, and then it's like, oh my god, I have to love you, I have to protect you, I have to care for you. And then literally right before you leave, you offer Catherine to go back down into the darkness where Ruth just rescued her from, and say, hey, let's go meet the other Kate. And if Ruth had heard that, she would have absolutely slammed her foot down, and you would have seen the grizzly mama bear, which wouldn't have been fun for Reviv. But uh,
Kind of hot.
Couldn't figure that out.
but the again, the innocence, the the childlikeness, the you've clearly were affected by the world and everything, but you didn't let that happen to you. And in fact, the way you just the way Reviv just nonchalantly is like, well, this adventure's over. Bye guys, I'm heading off. While the remainder of us are just still dealing with the shit, and you're just like, cool, talk to you later, bye. Um, no, I loved it, and it's a wonderful character for you to do. I really liked Reviv. He's really good. Jen.
I feel like I'm in trouble.
Uh,
You know what you did.
no, she knows what she did. The fact that half of this entire campaign literally revolved on the how I knew the character of Reviv because of the Catherine getting stolen away by the Green, and that whole entire. I don't even know if you had it planned from the start as soon as you heard about the, um, or if it just organically came, or if you had to switch out things completely. But I did not expect all of the, I guess, what attention to be on Ruth and everything. I will say she's probably not completely broken by the end of this, but damn, it hurt. She's got two blind. She's got a blind husband, blind son, and a daughter that is blind in the daytime. The way you took things and did left turns and twists and again, I'm repeating what everyone else is saying. You're a wonderful storyteller. My God, the system really does work for you to tell stories, to expand upon, to take the whole thing of the us Reviv saving the shuck and then having the consequences there. You you are a fantastic storyteller. You really, really are. I know you probably think that you aren't, but my God, you are fantastic. You're a wonderful. I look forward to everything in the future,
Oh,
and you're fantastic.
oh, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That means a lot.
So I know this is a little sacrilegious to say on this channel, but I think you ran this system better than Mateo did.
I won't tell him you said that.
I don't care.
You'll
He's
just
in the
have to hear
chat,
it for
probably.
himself.
I agree.
I have clearly found one of my niches. I think I have two. I have a nerdy TV show shit, and I have just gruesome horror. As I said, I was like writing down notes for this session, and I was like, am I going too far?
No.
Nah.
No,
No.
I do
18 true
love.
crime.
Oh,
Listen, if you didn't
I
go
know.
too far, Reviv wouldn't have their knee blown out.
yeah.
If I
And then
had
what
to
would?
compare
Then
this,
what?
if I had to compare this campaign to any other campaign that has appeared on this channel, it would have to be the American Maladies, where Artie was the main character. That's how it felt. It just felt very. Ruth felt very much main character.
I think you all just worked like so well together. Everybody brought something really essential
Mhm.
to the group. Like from the first episode, I was like, we didn't even do a session 0. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. And it just worked. You guys are so good together. And that's all the talking I have to do. Thank you for joining us
For your voice goes out.
on this crazy, crazy journey. I made it to the end, so it doesn't matter. It can go out now. I don't care. Thank you for trusting me to be your storyteller. Thank you, everybody who has watched this whole crazy campaign. If you haven't, we got it on YouTube. Lots of things on YouTube. If you want to join into a game, vote on our next games, I think. We probably have a couple of votes coming up. Signups just closed, but there's always more where that came from. You can go to our Discord. That's where all of the games are kept. That's where all we hang out. And finally, we have a Patreon if you want to contribute to books and merch. They have many tiers, many options, weighted voting, free redeems. Just ask Chi.
So many redeems.
Many
Did we even get
redeems.
all of the breaks that were redeemed for tonight?
So many. You guys are actually pretty lucky you survived. But you did. You
Thank you.
survived.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Actually,
probably the best possible outcome for a game that I run. Things get a little dark. Thanks for hanging in there with me.
technically speaking, everyone but Braden survived the Midnight World one.
Technically speaking, kind of, in a way.
It
Mhm.
was set up for a season 2, Jen. Do you want to run a one shot or a little mini series? Season 2 for them?
Season 2.
I said if I thought of an idea, I would throw it up there. I got a little while to think. Haven't phoned it in yet. So I guess join a Discard to see when that'll come up for a vote.
Or discard?
Discard.
Aye.
I took her.
Okay,
Come and
you
see it.
fucking minute.
We all
Okay, you fucking right.
we all have an
All kinds
Irish
of fun
accent now.
stuff going on.
I'm gonna stop the stream.